Hello, hello, hello. So I was talking for a whole minute and I added John Tisha and I thought we were live and we weren't live. So I don't know what happened, but it is what it is. We're here now. So hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday to all of you guys. Let's add John Tisha and Chris. Okay, we are actually live now.
Yeah, I know. And we're still, I told you guys before, like we have this little new setup. So we're like trying to figure this out. So give me just a minute. We'll be right back.
Yeah, take your time. Hello, everyone. While John Tisha's getting all her stuff together, I'll do some shout outs. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Chris. Hello, Lynn. Hello, Rose. How are you? Hello, Oralia. Hello, Lisa. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I see some of you guys on YouTube. Yes, yes. If you guys haven't followed us on YouTube, it's below in the comments. It is below in the comments. It's also on my Chelly page. You can find it there. I know people have had a hard time finding it, but we have to wait 30 days before we can actually personalize, our URL. So I can't do that yet. Have you heard from Cash today? I have not heard from Cash. I've not spoken to Cash at all. I've spoken to Erica and just what messages Suni relays to me. So that's who I've spoken to. So and he has limited time, I'm assuming. So he has to reach out to his kids. He has to reach out to his kids. He has to reach out to Erica. He has to reach out to Anthony to kind of stay in touch with things. So I'm not, I'm not too worried about the fact that he hasn't reached out personally to me because he has a lot of priorities. You know what I mean? So I hear messages from him. I speak to Erica and I check in with her. So for me, that's pretty good. I don't want him to waste, what limited time he has when he's giving, sent messages through Suni and other people. So that's about it. But I'm waiting for John Tisha and Chris to come on. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about some things that have been going on. Hello, everyone. In the meantime, I'm going to give shout outs. Suni did yesterday. Yeah, she spoke to him yesterday, right? So did a few other people. Yeah, they spoke to him yesterday. I don't know about today. Ryan was asking about if I spoke to him today. Hey, Tanya, how are you? Hi, Kim. Watching you, YouTube. Can't come. I have you on my TV. The video is still up from the doc nurse information. Hi, Shirley. How are you? Hi, Tabitha. How are you? Hello, 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 Michelle. Hello, Jack. How are you? Hello, Sabrina. How are you? I'm good, thank you. Hello, 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 hello. So we are going to talk about a few things today. Like I said, as people come on, here's Christian John Tisha. What you just tell me.
Hopefully we got this. He's getting an adapter for the other headphones. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Last time I was on mute, so.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
I'm good. Thank you. How are you? So we are going to talk to a few other people. Hawk's supposed to be joining us. Suni is going to be with us. Brittany cannot be with us today. Brittany is overloaded this week. Like, it has been a really rough week for her. She's a mom. She has her bathroom being reconstructed. She's in school. So she has a lot going on. But when she can join us, she will. Hi, Leah. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. So today I want to talk about, you guys know that I don't talk shit about her all the time because I really don't listen to anything she says because I think that she's missing most of her brain cells. But she needs to smoke weed. She might be a nicer person. So we're going to talk a little bit about, sorry, that's my husband. He's like, tell us how you really feel. You can barely hear me? Can you hear me, John Tisha?
I can hear you fine.
You could hear me fine? Okay, because someone said they could barely hear me. So if you guys can hear me, let me know that you can hear me. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. But anyway, so we're going to talk about, Leah said AOC is lost. Yeah, she's lost. She's lost major brain cells over lifetime. You can hear me just fine. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So we're going to talk about, I make comments about her whenever she does come up. And I have always said there's not a single thing that's come out of her mouth that I agree with. I think that she is an embarrassment to Latinas. And I know a lot of people who hold her on this really high pedestal, and I just don't know why. That's my personal opinion. But she said one thing this week that I have to agree with. So like I said, I'm going to call a spade. And if whether they're right or wrong, I'm going to call them on it. So she said one thing that I agree with. We're going to talk about that. We are going to talk a little bit about the COVID vaccine. We are going to talk about the XL pipeline. We are going to talk how that relates to inside trading. We are going to talk about GameStop. We're going to talk about all the tea. So we're going to talk about it. I'm waiting for Hawk. I wonder if he realized the time, because his time is different. Oh, we're going to talk about the Pelosi's. We are going to talk about the Pelosi's. Let me just send Hawk a message really quick. Oh my God, I'm just seeing your message right now, John Tisha. You said it's not 6:30 yet.
Yeah, it's not. We had three minutes still.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm gonna
joining us.
Yeah, he's looking for the adapter so he could put the other headphones on. Yeah, we're slowly adding to the setup. So, yeah, so that the sound is right.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and log in from right here. If it cuts me out, I apologize. I'll be right.
Okay. Yep, it logged her out. 6:39 on my side. I must have my time a few minutes ahead. LOL. Yeah, I thought I was live though. I did think I was live. I was on, and I wasn't live. And I was like, wait a second, why does it still say scheduled? I already clicked live. Like I went through the whole intro and everything and nothing. Hi, Nikki. How are you? Nay, she says something you agree with, but then fucked it up moments after. Yes, girl, look at you, ruined it for me, Nay. You ruined it for me. But yes, you know exactly what it is. You know, she's a hot mess. She really is a hot mess. Ted Cruz called for her murder. Yeah. Don't forget to like and share this video, you guys. We are streaming on the Chelly page. We are also streaming on YouTube. We are thinking of actually converting this into a Just Us page on Facebook. So I'll be working on that. We'll see. I'll let you guys know if we do that. Donna, you can hear me. Hello. So yes. Okay, I think John Tisha's back. Yes, John Tisha's back.
It kicked me off. But I think I'm logged into my StreamYard account. I might be wrong because it doesn't say log in anymore. I was just trying to see if it was going to give me any other cool feature options. Okay.
Oh, look at who's here. Let's say hello to Suni.
Hi, Suni.
Hello, guys. Busy all day.
Yes.
Somebody's like, Suni's in a live. And I was like, wait, I thought her live ended. They're like, no, she's in another live.
Oh, yeah. I did an interview with Oscar.
Did you?
And then I had to do a show with Corey, and we just finished our show. And then I was like, I got to go give Chelly like 20, 30 minutes. And then I'm done for the day.
So
yeah, she's been on all day and all night.
Yeah, I don't have that type of energy, to be honest.
Me either.
I really just don't. I've been reading so much stuff. I'm like, I need to stop reading.
What are you reading?
All kind of shit, literally all day long. I've been reading so much stuff. So I'm not too familiar about like stocks, like Wall Street, like the hedge funds. I'm not familiar with it, so I was trying to familiarize myself so that I don't sound like an asshole when I'm speaking about it. So I was doing that, and then I was picking my husband's brain because he's super, super smart. So I was like, hey, I got some questions. So I sat there and took notes.
Look, we take notes, all right?
Yes,
it's real. It's real over here.
Girl, I'm telling you, the struggle. Look at this. Drugs,
I usually do, but you guys have been sending me a whole bunch of stuff, and I've been trying to keep my kids on track with their homework and stuff, and make sure I'm watching what I'm eating and all that stuff, and my brain hurts, so I don't have my notes in front of me.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, I need literally notes because I feel like I'm at a point where before I was like, okay, with just the stuff people sent me, I'd read up on it, I'd be good. But now I'm like, it's so much. I'm like, wait, no, I need to take notes because there's specific points I want to make. And I can't do that if I have all this shit like constantly in my head.
Gotcha.
We are going to talk about, you guys know that I always make comments about AOC when she comes up. And I said, for the first time, she said something I agree with. For the first time. I had to look at it again. I was like, I think somebody hacked her ass. And
what happened?
Then I saw Don Jr. post about it. And I was like, okay, she wasn't hacked. So it was regarding like the stuff with GameStop and the guy from Reddit. His name, his actual real name, I looked him up today. Wait a second. His real name is Keith Gill. He goes by the name of Deep Fucking Value on Reddit. So basically, AOC was just talking about how, what was her exact quote? Hold on, let me pull it up because I don't want to misquote her because you know they will come for you if you say one wrong word. One wrong word. Hold on.
I got you. Is this what she called out Ted Cruz?
No, it wasn't about Ted Cruz. Actually, it initially started with Ted Cruz agreeing with her as well. And then like a few minutes later, her clapback was, oh, you could sit this one out. You almost had me murdered. I'm like, see, you said something that I agree with. 2 seconds later, you just fucking stuck your fucking foot in your mouth. Like, shut up and just take a breath for a second. Like, I really wish that's what she would have done.
Oh my God. Help me launder my rep after investigating an erection that almost got you kidnapped or killed.
Yep. Just like to be honest.
I heard about that video. I didn't see the video. I didn't see that little discussion, but I seen the memes about it. And they're like, "You didn't see it?" I'm like, "Oh, I bet it was good." It was probably a word fumble.
Oh my God.
You didn't hear that one? That was
good. Is she serious though? Like that's who tried to have her? Who tried to kill her? First of all,
she's talking about on the day of the so-called insurrection. You know, because they, on Trump, Ted Cruz, they all incited violence, and she was almost murdered.
Didn't the FBI tell everybody that Trump was cleared? Didn't they already say that he didn't plan it? It wasn't him?
They said they knew about it in advance.
Okay. Exactly. Who would ever want to kidnap her? I'm going to leave you where you're at.
Thank you. I'm going to show you guys, share the screen really quick. I'm going to show you her tweet just because I don't want to.
We can check on this and circle back to you. What's her name? Jen Pansky.
Let's see if you can see what I see. All right, so this is her tweet right here. So basically, she just says, I gotta admit, it's really something to see Wall Streeters with a long history of treating our economy as a casino complain about a message board of posters also treating the market as a casino, right? So what she's referring to is, she's referring to Wall Street. And like I said, I'm not well-versed. Let me stop sharing the screen. I just wanted to show you guys. So I'm not well versed on it, so I've been reading a lot, and the stock market is confusing. Wall Street's confusing. The whole hedge fund thing is so confusing. It's a lot. So basically what she's talking about is Reddit. This gentleman by the name of Keith Gill, he's also known as Deep Fucking Value on Reddit. He's a Redditor. Exposed that GameStop wasn't in the position the hedge funds were claiming it was in, and tried to portray, or that the hedge funds try to portray that it was in a bad, I can't hear you. Okay. So what he did is he exposed it, and it didn't do what the hedge funders claimed it was going to do. So they lost a shitload of money. Like a shitload of money. So Wall Street does this all the time. Like they do that shit all the time. And then the hedge funds, they basically they were betting on GameStop losing out. Like, and it literally just went through the fucking roof. So AOC made a comment. I actually agree with her that they're complaining about something people are doing on this board. The board she's referring to is the Reddit board. So, and they do this shit all the time. Like they're constantly do it. It's the hypocrisy of it all, right? And then a few minutes later, she said something totally stupid again, and she's back in my idiot of the year book. And we're only in the month of January, so. But that's where I'm at with her. But while we're talking about that, I want to talk about also, what do you guys, like, do you guys know about the stock market? Do you guys know about what happened? Go ahead.
All right, so
he's been all over this the last
so
for a while.
I've been in the stock market for what, 2.5 years now, playing, doing a little bit here and there. So I can tell you from last year, I've learned a lot, especially about options and puts and sales, closes, opens, things like that. Like it can get very confusing. Like there's still a lot I have to learn. But the big thing right now is that I have the opportunity. So I understand why some people are upset that they weren't able to buy anymore and things like that. There's a lot to it. And especially when it comes to this particular situation. So yes, the Reddit guys, from what I was reading, the hedge fund people, they had for what it seems to me, they had an option out, and it was for GameStop to go down. And if it hits that number and that certain amount, then yes, they win, they capitalize on it. And they wanted it to not hit that. They wanted it to go the other direction, so they wouldn't, what the options they had expired, or they just wouldn't hit their mark. So they artificially inflated GameStop in their stock prices. Some people are calling it illegal, but they kind of said they were going to do it, and there's nothing that was illegal about it. Like they were very honest about the share prices, so there was no insider trading. It was just people coming together to take it to the take it to the man, take it to the machine, whatever you want to call it, to Wall Street. When it comes to AOC, my thing is, like, even when she says something smart, like you could say smart stuff, doesn't make you a smart person. Like she comes off and she says some smart things sometimes, where it sounds like she's going somewhere with it. But then when she immediately says some dumb shit right after.
Yeah. Someone just made a comment about that earlier.
Yeah. To me, that is, you're just regurgitating something that you heard, and you're just following the trend or whatever's being said. Because when these people are calling it a casino, or it's like gambling or betting, it's not. and there's a lot more that goes into it. And for her to jump into something that she doesn't know anything about, I think she's really good at that. I think she's really good about putting herself in a situation because she thinks she knows what's going on, because she would like you to think that she's the smartest person out there. But in reality, she really hasn't done nothing in her job. I mean, as being Congresswoman. So if I don't see nothing on her part in her actual job, why would I even listen or take advice from her on anything else that she has to say?
Oh, I didn't say she was smart. I just said for one,
No.
I totally agreed with her on. And then literally, I don't even know how much longer she just killed it again for me. I was like,
No,
wow, one thing I agree on. Okay.
I agree with you. Like because there's some things she said, like I agree on her, but for me, it's like when I agree with her, I'm like, oh, she's actually making sense. She seems kind of smart today. And then she says the super shit not too long after that, and you're like, oh, there went that.
Yep, exactly. Literally, there went that. But yeah, so for me, like I said, I'm not very familiar with it, so I'm gonna have to pick your brain, Chris, because I've been like trying to do some reading in the last couple of days on it, and then I was picking my husband's brain. I don't know a lot about it, but you know what? Good for them. I'm not mad about it because you know what? Wall Street does this shit all the time. And now when the little guy gets a come up, you're gonna fucking bitch and moan about it. And if I'm not mistaken, they put a stop on it now, didn't they?
They limited it.
Yes, they stopped it at first, and then they put a limit on it. I think people are misunderstanding. Like I'm kind of with Robinhood on it, and then I'm kind of not. Like I say I'm not because it's our right to make stupid choices. If you don't know what you're doing in the stock market and you're not trying to read, research, or anything like that, then you shouldn't be in it. I lost quite a bit of money within the first year and a half that I was doing it. But then once I started catching on and following trends, I've made a pretty penny. I mean, I've made quite a bit. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose. And so I get what Robinhood's doing. And I think what people are missing, and especially these congressmen or these people in the news, we always know there's an agenda. So you'll get some guys that say they're experts, which they are, but they got to push the agenda to make it seem like whatever they want. But then you got your average everyday people. So when it came to GameStop, these Reddit guys, they had a plan. They wanted to take it to the system. They wanted to take it to these hedge funds guys or whoever they were trying to hurt. And they wanted them to miss out on all the money they were supposed to make. So they reversed it and they inflated it. Now, I think it was the other day, I think it was Ben Shapiro I was watching it, and he put it kind of the best way. Like if I got it at $5 and I told you, Charlie, that, hey, it's really valued at $5, but we need to inflate it. Let's take it to the system. There's nothing illegal about that. Inflate it a little bit. Well, it got it on this snowball effect where it kept rolling. Well, now Suni jumps in and Suni gets it at 10. Tisha jumps in and gets it at 50. And you see that with GameStop. It went from I think last time I was following it 10, 15 to 30. And then it jumped up to 400 or almost 400. I've been in the stocks long enough to realize that. Yeah, originally, yes. I mean, but when it makes that's a big jump. Like I've seen things like I think it's Guess. It was last summer. It went from you're talking 10, 50 cents, and it in a day it jumps up to $10. And I had a buddy that had a whole bunch on it. He sees it jumps up. He
Sorry.
Who was it?
That's you. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm over here messing.
Oh, my bad. I was like, what is that? Sorry. So yeah, it makes the jump up to that big amount, and then it's like a roller coaster. You hit the top, and eventually it comes falling down, and those people that pull their money out as soon as it hits there or as it's getting there, those are the people that win, and the people that put in at the last minute, those are the people that lose. So I get what Robinhood was trying to do. They're trying to limit it for different reasons. One, okay, yeah, they might have their company to think about. They also have their customers to think about. And yes, they might be trying to help some other rich people out. But if you're inflating the system, it's the little guy's still going to get hurt. And I don't think that's what people are understanding. They're saying we're taking it to the big guy because the little guy's always getting messed with. Well, the Reddit guys, those guys are eating now. because they pushed this thing from something small to almost $400. So when they put this lock on it saying that all you can do is sell, they're not tripping anymore. Your $5 or $10 is now sitting almost at 400. That's a win. That's like, you could say, let's say, call it 390. They came up on 390 per share. These guys are walking around maybe $20,000, $30,000 richer each person. It's the person, let's say Tisha was the last person to hear about it, and she bought it at 350. Well, now she gets screwed because she only has the option to sell, and because they put that limit, it dropped. Now you're down $100. So to me, it was a quick little legal scam from what I've been seeing, and it still hurts the little guy. And there's really nothing, from what I've read and what I've seen, there's nothing illegal about it. Now, I'm not an expert and I'm still learning a lot about it, but it was a good come up, and that goes into Dogecoin. I'm last night, I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I seen them pumping out Dogecoin. I've had Dogecoin.
It's not Dogcoin?
Dogcoin, they call it Dogecoin.
Oh, really?
I've had it for like over a year, and you're talking pennies, or not even pennies on the dollar. You're talking 0.004, like a fraction of a penny, and I'm purchasing it. So when it hit last night, me, a couple of my buddies, you're talking $3-4 grand. I got one dude that he's like 18 grand off Dogecoin. It skyrockets up to only, I mean, it's what, 9 cents, or I think it might have hit 10.
Today?
And no, last night.
Oh, so and
it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you got it, when they're trying to inflate it like they were trying to inflate GameStop, some of us won. And it's the guy that jumps in at the end when it's at 9 cents. Those are the people that are going to lose money. There's a lot more to it, but I mean, just over the last couple of days, that kind of, for me, sums up what's been going on.
Correct. And that's the thing, is that, like, people, especially I know for myself, I've never been involved in stock. I don't know anything really about it, like I said. So, and I think, like, why this is what makes people money, right? Especially like the elites and all these people. And I'm like, well, why aren't they teaching this to our kids? Why are we not teaching our kids about the stock market? Why are we not teaching them about how important it is to have a good credit score? Why are we not teaching them how to build and be better?
Question for you. Who taught you? Did you ever get taught?
Myself.
And that's the same thing here. And I think, I know that our kids, we send our kids to school and they should be learning stuff. I honestly feel sometimes like so often we say, well, who's going to teach our kids that? And that's where it comes down to us, because I'm showing my son like, hey, kid, look what I'm doing. Because for me, it's like, it's America. If they can make money off of it, so can I. So when people are like, oh, it's only like, yes, don't get me wrong, because there's corruption and they probably know what their company's going to do and where to move their money. At the same time, a lot of like my retirement plan is based off a lot of what the stock market is doing. And since I learned that, I've been able to adjust my retirement plan at work into different, I would say, they're not stocks, but they're funds, different funds. And one's international. You got small cap, Fitz cap, I think it's Fitz cap, something like that. You move them around. When you learn that, now I teach other people that. And then I'm also trying to teach my own kids, like, hey, you don't have to just save in a bank. You can save in, put it in and invest in a company and own shares. And that's where it's not like a casino. If you invest in somebody like Amazon, you do get dividends, and you can reinvest into the company and keep building stock. So I think that's something where more of us need to, now that you got these open platforms, these apps, more of us need to get involved and start teaching each other and then our kids.
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with you. But I think, like, so I have some friends when I was in high school. I didn't go to like my neighborhood high school. I went to a high school pretty far away. I had to take 2 buses, and I went to high school with it was mixed, but I met a lot of like very wealthy and very well-to-do kids. And I'm telling you, I remember back in high school, and I went to high school in the late 80s, and they were talking about stocks and stuff then. And they were like taking certain classes and doing these like other things. And I thought, well, damn, they never taught me that shit ever. I was like, what school did you go to?
Well, I'd assume that their parents. I'd assume that they were watching and listening to their parents as well.
Well, I think that at some point maybe they were listening to their parents, but they weren't talking about like stuff that they learned in school one day. Like we had this conversation about it, and they went to private schools, a lot of them, and I was like, wait. I was like, yeah, they ain't giving you that shit at no public school.
Right. Well, they're not even teaching you how to really manage your bank account either in public school.
Correct.
Like, not at all.
I wish, like, the curriculum, I don't know about you guys, but I know in our state, I've been sharing the last couple of days. So they're trying to push this agenda to start teaching about the controversies of local politics, about politics in general, not local. They've been teaching the kids about the whole Black Lives Matter movement. They want to change it where that they're talking about this stuff, whether it goes against the teachers' like personal beliefs, religion. It's been like a lot of shit. They're supposed to vote on it in February. We didn't even know about it. Like, it's not something I follow my kids' emails, and they go to 2 different schools all the time.
Right.
It's like one of those things that they do in the middle of the night, and then nobody knows about it, so nobody can bark about it. So my thing is, you want to teach all this other irrelevant bullshit because opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
Right.
Instead of teaching my kid about real life shit like credit score, like what it is to balance a checkbook.
Right. How to save money, what the cost
right.
cost effectiveness of it is.
Exactly. But yeah, it is our job as parents to like get involved in that stuff too. But again, when you have people that are grow up in the hood, what do they know about that?
Right.
I can tell you right now, nobody in my family knows anything about stock market at all, except for my husband.
Well, people are really picky and touchy with when it comes to their finances as it is. I tried a few years back when we first started. So we went through Financial Peace University through our church, and that helped a lot. Like I was already budgeting things and saving and whatnot, but this helped like on a whole other level to make things much clearer and really understand that it really is a habit thing. It's a personal thing, a habit change that people have to do in order to learn how to really save and commit to the steps that it takes to saving and paying debt off and, you know, using cash only or whatever it might be. And at the time, you know me, we all learned something and then we want to share with everybody. And so I tried doing that, and it was really, you'd be surprised that people will say they want help, but when you put it out there and you're really offering help, if I can help you, teach you how to do these things and just, you know, help you along with the style change, the lifestyle change or whatever, would you be willing to do it? Like no one hit me up. No one. People are really weird about talking to other people about their finances. And we really kind of got to get past that if we want to change, if we want to if we want to be better, or, you know, not let the elites always get everything, but because we can have those things too. It's just a matter of, you know, learning and taking the steps.
Back to your school point though, it's kind of like either the school, they're going to teach our kids something that's not going to make them smart. So they're going to teach them, they'll teach them this Black Lives Matter stuff, right? But what is that really going to do for their life? Like they're not going to teach them how to be a part of society or how to make it in society. They're teaching them things that they think is going to help them out, but really those don't always necessarily help out. That kind of drives more of a wedge, because then these kids are very influential. So then you got all these kids running around thinking that every white person or light-skinned person you see is a white supremacist. So on the one hand, it's like, yeah, would it be nice for them to get more realistic or tools that they could use in life? Like, yeah, that'd be great. We kind of know that's going to happen, not going to happen. So for me, sometimes, like, what's the point of sending my kid to school if, like, I could teach them how to write, I could teach them the ABCs and basic math, I could teach them more stuff than they probably can. Like, I might not have time for it, but I send them to school, and are they really being taught life lessons or valuable tools, and they're not. And not saying that they don't have good teachers. It's just they kind of just get some stuff, and then they get filled with a bunch of other crap, especially as they start getting into high school and college. That goes back to, we can't change the system there. Like we could, but we got to fight for it. More of us got to step up and say, hey, we need these curriculums to be changed as a group. But in the meantime, hey, I take it back to it's our responsibility to teach our kids about this stuff.
Yep. So Tanya asked, did they really get nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize? Yes, they did. How?
Peace Prize when you're burning shit down.
Say it again.
Oh, I said, how do you get the Nobel Peace Prize when you're burning shit down? That wasn't peace. I'm sorry, they were mostly peaceful. Right. Sorry.
According to certain political parties, they were mostly peaceful, right? That's all you heard. It's mostly peaceful. It's mostly peaceful. There's literally a clip of a news article. It's like they took a screenshot of it, and there's shit burning in the background, and the title in the front says peaceful protest. But it's if people don't realize that the world is backwards, it's not even half-ass backwards. It's fucking upside down. It is literally upside down. Speaking of trading, etc., Nancy Pelosi's husband, his full name is Paul Pelosi, bought $1 million of Tesla stock days before Joe Biden announced they're going green and they want their fleet of federal government vehicles to go completely green. Do you know how much money Tesla is going to make?
What are you looking for? You got to move it all the way over. Sorry.
We have 645,000 federal government vehicles.
And they're not there. Like he's not the first person that's done that, and that kind of goes to
they do it all the time. That's
they do.
They do this inside trading shit all the time, and it's illegal. It is illegal.
So let me take it from another point though. So yes, do some of them I'll agree with you. Yes, some of them do they get tipped off and they get some insider trading? Yes. I think more often than not though, it's not so much insider trading as it is they know things are going to happen. And I'm gonna say like the pandemic, right? We know we got in a pandemic last year, and part of the reason why I made so much money from March, even though you didn't think you could make money in March, I made it's a good handful of money from March, January, February, April, May. So up until May, I mean, I killed it because for as much as people don't want to watch the news, for as much as they hated Trump, or you don't like Pelosi or all these people, when they're talking, or let's just say ESPN, whatever it is, when these people are talking, if you want to make money, even if you dislike them, listen. Trump comes out and says Moderna. Now, I already know that, behind the scenes, Nancy Pelosi and all these other people, or Schumer or Como, they already know what's going to happen. They know that we were going into a pandemic and that they were going to lock us down. They know that we needed PPE. So what do? They're ahead of the game. Not saying they were tipped off, but they went ahead and said, okay, Johnson & Johnson's going to start producing. I'm going to drop some money here because they know that they were going to put the laws in place. So it necessarily wasn't insider trading, but when you know you're going to put the laws in place, you jump on board. Joe Biden is going electric. He wants everything to go electric. So how many of these the writing's been on the wall? Nobody can say, oh, they were tipped off. I've been knowing that he wanted to do it. So I figured as soon as he becomes president, I already have my Robinhood set up to where I'm like, here's my list of electronic companies or solar companies or whatever it is. As soon as it comes in, I'm seeing what I could jump into because something's going to hit. This thing that's different is that they're just a little bit ahead of the game. So the ones that aren't playing dirty insider trading type stuff, right? So you get somebody like Gavin Newsom. he already knew what he was going to do to us. So these people throw down stock on PPE. They put down on what was it, McKenzie, I think he kept talking about, and was pushing about, it used to be big here in California. They're already dropping the money in there. And then they come out and they tell you the name. To me, that's my cue to say, okay, it's time to go make some money. Even if I dislike them, I'm still listening to see what the trends are. And it might seem wrong, but if they're not really being told what, like something's going to fail or something, I think they're riding a very fine line. I don't think it's the most ethical thing to do, but I mean, they've gotten away with this so far, and they're out there in the public just talking about it.
Well, the thing with Nancy Pelosi and this whole thing about with Tesla is to me, I'm thinking like, wait, is this the article I wanted? Yeah. I'm thinking they knew. I mean, I think had it been just a regular person who did something like that, it'd be questionable by anybody. And I know there are politicians who are already giving her crap because now Tesla's going to make, this is one of the articles. There's several articles on it, But the thing is that does it not, and you can look at Yahoo Money, there's tons. If you put Nancy Pelosi and Tesla, you'll find tons. I just wanted one to show you guys a little bit, but let me take this one down, sorry. So, sorry, my screen is acting stupid. But so my thing is isn't there a conflict of interest when there's things that she can be voting to pass as the Speaker of the House? She should not be. There's a conflict of interest there. That's my biggest point with it.
I see where you're going with it.
I think there's a conflict of interest. You're going to be passing stuff on stuff that you own stock in. Yes,
and I agree. I agree with you. I think at that point, it's kind of one of those things where it's like if you have to give up your business, then okay. So we'll take it. We'll go from this stance. Like,
isn't that what Trump did?
Trump, yeah. From what I understood and what I read over the last couple of years, there was a lot of stuff that Trump signed over or had kind of step away from. Because of his position. And I 100% agree with you. I do think there is a conflict of interest when you're in a position, especially a political position, in a high position of power, like the current president of the United States. For me, like I look at him and I wonder, okay, how much stuff did he dump into the stock market before he became president, hoping that he did become president so he could write all these executive orders, and how many of them are going to affect him monetarily? That'd be the word.
Yeah.
I mean,
financially. That's the that means.
I think they all do that, and I do think it's a conflict of interest. I think that if you become a politician and you're able to make laws or pass laws, I think if the president's got to walk away from all his stuff, so should they, because then they're.
Yeah, that was kind of my point. Like, my thing is, hey, look, I'm not against someone having to come up, right? I'm not against, even though I don't think they need another fucking dime ever to save their life because they're fucking making mad money, right? But my thing is that when it creates a conflict of interest, I don't care if it's Trump, I don't care who it is, but I know he had to do certain things so that it would not create a conflict of interest, which is one of the things I actually really liked about him at a time. I didn't like him as a person. I thought that was pretty honorable. So for her, I mean, I'm going to be honest. Maybe I'm a little biased because I don't fucking like her at all. I think she's a fucking waste. I don't know how long she's been in there. I think she's been there over 30 something years, almost 40 years. And I can't think of one thing that she's done positive for Americans at all. Like, I really can't think of one thing that she's done positive. And I think that when you have an influence on something, it creates a conflict of interest, period. Like, that's just how I feel about it. golfing at his resorts. He could golf at his resorts all he wants. What are you talking about, Elvis? Explain yourself.
Oh.
He
means when Trump like took those moments when everybody thought he should be working still or whatever, when he took that little time away to, recoup when he went golfing.
I don't care if he went golfing every fucking day.
I mean, that's a stressful position. Why is he not allowed?
I mean, I don't care if he's golfing, just like with Clinton. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I didn't care that Monica Lewinsky was blowing him up at the table. That's between him and his wife. That ain't our business. The fact that he was doing terrible things as a president is what I cared about. Where he was sticking his cigar was not my business. Period.
Sorry. Oh.
That's funny.
Who brought that up?
Somebody
Did
brought
you
it
see
up.
that new meme? Have you seen the new meme with like a emaciated Biden?
Okay, how did he make money golfing? Like, what are you talking about? Where was he making money golfing? I want to know what you're talking about. Does anybody know what he's talking about?
No.
That Trump made money golfing? Because if I'm correct, was Trump the only president to ever not take a paycheck?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I don't know what money. If he really was about just money, I would have been taking that little check, because to him that's a little check, and I'd have been putting in him. I'd have been buying. He should have been buying stock in goddamn Tesla.
I think he means because I remember when people were upset about that. They were complaining because the people were paying him. He was still getting paid while he was golfing. But
what do you mean?
The response to that.
What was he getting paid?
Right. No, that's what I mean. That's where people were, what they were saying, why they were upset about it. They're like, well, we're paying him. He's supposed to be doing X, Y, Z.
And I think that's where people get.
But he was doing his job. That's a stressful ass job.
Didn't Barack Obama go and play basketball?
And play saxophone and
dance,
jazz
and sing,
saxophone, like in a whole bunch of places.
He
was a celebrity president.
Quiet. I don't like when you are too quiet.
She's tired.
No, I think her ass is lit. That's just me. See, she laughing. Yep.
Ooh, did you get that White Widow win? Is that why? Oh,
I hear you.
She's just tired.
It didn't get here yet.
Ah. Well, then you don't have an excuse.
I'm here. I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I figured that's what you were doing. You look like you were.
Notes on us?
On us.
Huh? Did I take notes on you guys? Yes, I did. I actually did. I was over here writing stuff.
I saw learning. I wasn't sure if it was her special pen or her writing.
I don't know. I think you can look at this a ton of different ways, and I'm talking about the stock market. Insider trading does happen. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, bro, it happens, but they're not doing anything about it. So why even be pissed off about it? Unless you're gonna do something to stop them, or like go forth and incorporate some sort of change. It's almost like we're complaining and doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
I don't think I don't think anyone's gonna ever do anything about elites who do it, except unless you're like, you're not an elite. Because like, look at Martha Stewart. She did the opposite, right? She got wind that something was gonna crash, so she dumped it. Yeah. Her ass went to jail. Lock her up.
Facts. But it's almost like, how are we gonna change that? Now, if people are doing legal games where they're throwing information up on a message board where it's public and everybody can come view it, ain't like they had it behind a paywall or they were doing some sneaky shit. They were being Americans trying to figure out how to fuck the system, kind of like how our politicians do, fuck the system. So why are you upset?
Exactly.
Why? And everybody complaining about it probably has no clue how the stock market works.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah,
earlier.
that's like a lot of the people I've been listening to. It's like I'm not no expert, but I'm pretty good with numbers and math and statistics and stuff like that. And I'm like, I still am learning. And I see a bunch of people throwing a fit, and it's like you guys probably don't even know the first place to even start. And
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Like a bunch of stuff that I did read was just like a bunch of gibberish. But for me, I thought that it was important to discuss a little bit about it because I think the key problem is exactly what Suni said, is no one is going to do anything about it. It's going to be brought up. The only time people do something is when, like, the only time you're going to hear about anything like this is when someone threw it up on a board and it's public and all these people like made gains on it and now you're upset. You're upset about the shit you do all the time. With the hypocrisy, the way things have been in general, it's just, for me, it was more of another hypocritical point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just to raise awareness about the hypocrisy being real, because we talk about hypocrisy in so many ways, and it's another way to hypocrite.
I'm laughing at Wall Street. You're really complaining. Like, seriously. Come on, guys.
Well,
just take the L. Take the L.
And I agree with you. I thought it was funny because you got guys that are on Wall Street talking about. Well, I think the funniest thing was the guys that have come out and that are like, you got all these guys that don't know what they're doing. They have no experience. They're throwing these fits. But then it's like, do they really not have it? Because let's think about what they just did. They legally fucked you over. Legally fucked you over. And there ain't shit you could do about it. So if you're going to call that person dumb, then what does that say about you? Because you didn't see it coming. And that's what I've been laughing about the last 3 days. Like, yo, who was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? I've been getting told to get on GameStop. And I was like, no, I'm not going to mess with it because it's not going to go nowhere. And then it jumped, and I was like, oh, shit. And then you hear all the other stuff, and it's like, hey, it's been out there for a while. And I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I get on social media accounts, and I'll look for, like, little groups that are talking about the stock market.
Yeah.
I got stock twits right here. Their daily rip. Every morning I get up, I'm like, okay, what stock twits got for me? What's Project 303? You get all these little.
Robinhood has their daily stuff.
Yeah, Robinhood has their daily stuff. I mean, I got all these little bits and nuggets coming in.
It's a craft. Like, bro, this what we do here. Like sitting here, giving information, keeping people engaged. We all watch somebody. We all take points from somebody that came before us. Mm-hmm. We do it. So if you want to look at shit that's gonna make you bank, so what?
Hey, I was called. Hey, check this out. And I think I was called. And this is my buddy at work, right? He called me a hypocrite because we were talking about Black Lives Matter and Kaepernick and this and that. And I was like, bro, I really don't care for Kaepernick. One, because he grew up in Turlock, which is like 45 minutes away from us. And all this social justice stuff he talks, I'm just not a big fan of the dude. I think he's just made a mess of things and he's playing into what's going on. That's my personal opinion. I was like, but when Nike goes to go sign a deal with them, I was like, bet your ass that I was like, oh, I seen it. And I'm like, what's Nike doing? Cool. And then he was like, ain't that type of hypocritical that you dislike this dude, but you're over here making money? And I was like, how many of these rich people dislike a lot of stuff, but they're still going to go jump in and make some money? Like they might not, let's say that one of these rich dudes really is racist. He might be really racist, but guess what? Money talks a lot more than a lot of things. And he's going to be like, I don't like this black dude, but he's going to make me some money. So I'm going to invest in you. There you go. Why? Because at the end of the day, money talks. And I got a wife and kids to provide by. So go ahead and call me a hypocrite. But I'm not really. There's my personal.
You're not a hypocrite,
and then there's business.
You're not a hypocrite. That doesn't make you a hypocrite. You're not lying to people, talking about racial injustices occurring while you grew up with a white family. Not saying that matters, but you grew up wealthy, bro.
And he grew up in a pretty decent area because I'll be the first one to tell you, Turlock, mostly, I mean, you might get Mexicans and white people out there, college town. I've been out there, like my friend went to Stanislaus State in Turlock like it was diverse. And the only reason the cop's going to pull you over is if you're drunk and you're driving or you're doing something stupid. Like the crime, there's not a lot of crime out there. Yeah. I mean, and for him to say that, like, yeah, he is very hypocritical. For me, it's like, hey, there's my personal opinion, and then there's making money, and I'm going to keep the two separate.
He's a culture vulture. Now, if you were jacking the culture and then making money while jacking the culture, I might have to call you out and be like, man, fuck this dude. But you're not. We all got to make money. I don't know. I think the things that Wall Street is complaining about is trivial. Honestly, I think the whole Robinhood app situation is trivial. It's a private app. They're allowed to do whatever they want. Go to another app. Try another trading system. Like, how many of them are out there?
There's a lot.
And you're tripping about one?
And I got three. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. I got where's my sports lotto bet stocks right here? Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, Webull, Robinhood, StockTwits. I mean, I got a handful of apps, and why? Because at the end of the day, like, I go to work to make money. I come home, I'm still trying to make money. I mean, and it's not like I'm trying to be greedy or rich, but you know what? Like, I grew up and I had to hustle and make money. So it's just something that kind of comes with me. Like, I got little projects going on, and if I can make some money off of it, I'm gonna make money. And I think people are just, I think it's just, we're running out of things to talk about. I think it was slick, and Trump's kind of fading out. And when they can't keep him in the limelight, well, let's talk about what happened. And the reason why I say that, because I know somebody would probably disagree, but I heard on the news earlier, this lady was like, oh, what Robinhood or what these guys did on Reddit was kind of like what happened at the Capitol. I was like, that is about the stupidest shit I ever heard.
You know what this is? This just came to my head. AOC is somewhat of she's a cultural influencer.
Right.
Yes.
Period. Okay. And she's on the left. So AOC putting this out, people are going to flock to it because she's AOC. It's pushing a certain narrative. This is the left once again winning the culture war, because now you got a bunch of SJWs that want to come in and save the day and talk about how all this is bad and the American people are suffering. Like, all this is optics. When I tell you it's optics, I'm not even kidding. Just sitting here listening, because I had no clue about this situation. I wasn't even paying attention, but just sitting here listening, looking at her tweets and looking at all the other people that hopped on it. First of all, you're trying to get reelected because you know you got 2 years. You're trying to stay relevant, and this is an attempt for them to win the culture war once again. I'm so tired of AOC. Damn.
David,
can we focus on what they're really doing?
Oh shit. David's gonna get an award from me.
Hey, I got a good one in the comments. Jack Wickens.
How long did you tell your girl I'm going to be a rapper? LOL, toy boy. Like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, please throw that up in the comments.
Who are you talking to?
I don't think I ever said I was going to be a rapper, so I'm curious of who you was talking to.
And then he said, and this one time in band camp, like, who are you talking to?
Anyways, hey, so something else I thought.
About my man? Talking about my man?
Yeah, I have no bars.
Wait a minute.
I have no bars. I can't sing. I can't rap. I could lightweight play the piano. It's downstairs. I might be able to soothe you with like a G major chord. And that's about all I got.
It's really nice.
Hey, so here's the other thing, right? Since we're talking stock market and politicians, right? The one thing that I always find funny is, like, I'm going to bring up Biden real quick with his policy of taxing the wealthy, right? What I don't understand is when they keep saying tax the wealthy, and then you get celebrities, rich politicians, and rich people coming out and saying, yeah, we need to tax the wealthy. And then you get the common everyday person going, yeah, see, look, they all agree. You really think that they want to tax themselves? Or you like, no, that's not going to happen. He only wants to tax the handful of billionaires. And you think that's going to fly? And this is the other thing reason why I know people really don't understand what's going on. They see somebody like Jeff Bezos and they're like, oh, this guy's worth billions of dollars. But how much of that is in his bank? And how much of that is on the buildings, the vehicles that he owns, the machinery, the conveyor lines, like all of that is a part of your worth, is a part of your net worth.
Yep, those are assets.
Yeah, they're assets. So how much of that, and that all gets calculated in when they say, oh, so-and-so's worth $3 billion. Okay, does he have $3 billion in the bank, or does he have $3 billion, in his businesses amongst a bunch of stuff? And people don't understand that because so many people don't understand business and what it takes to run one. Hell, when you fill out certain applications, like me, I had to fill something out the other day, and it said, what are you worth? It's for something for work. And then it asked me, okay, what do I own at my house? And how much is it valued at? And as I'm going through, like I had to, get a good idea. Okay, what do I really have? And then kind of put a number on it. And then you step back and you're like, man, I guess if you took it like that and I were to sell everything in my house, like I'm still poor, but I mean, you'd be surprised how much, like, you think you're not worth anything, but you really got $20,000 or $100,000 of stuff worth in your house or in your house. It adds up quick.
I don't know. If you got ways to make money, make money as long as you're doing it legally, and they went about it the legal way. So Wall Street, shut up.
So Brittany just sent me an article. Well, she sent it to the info group. She's like, billionaire Mark Cuban says his 11-year-old son made money with the Wall Street bets traders, and he loves what's going on with the Reddit forum.
See, that's a good sport. He's like, man, look at them. They're coming up. Go ahead.
He's like, let's get it. Let's get this money. But you know what I find interesting? You know how with Biden and his whole
what does that even mean?
His push with this like green energy and this green this and green that, and the whole like pipeline stuff. I'm like, for me, it just kind of all of it is like fitting in. I'm like, oh, so now you want green this. I know why you're pushing it so much, because you want to push that damn. If you're going to say it about one thing, people are going to hold you accountable on this side too. Like, okay, well, you got to do it all around. Don't be a hypocrite. So I'm like, I don't know. I just think that they're kind of, I just think that it's not a coincidence about the shit that he's doing with the pipeline and the whole new deal with Tesla. I just don't think it's a coincidence. That's just my personal opinion. I think everything has a plan of that. Not that he's doing it anyway, because I don't think he's doing shit. But I think it's a part of a bigger picture.
Well, it has to be, just like everything with his son overseas and everything he's been doing overseas for years, and everything he's been doing under the radar here in the United States. It all adds up. He's not that smart, but he's been having a plan and he's been executing it.
I'll tell you what, I personally don't like, I don't get upset. Like, I think it's funny, or I find it ironic, but I don't get upset because, yes, they may be doing it on a larger scale, right? And people are like, oh, they're over here doing this stuff overseas and this and that. But how many people on the smaller scales in some of these hoods are doing some really corrupt stuff, making a lot of money? So that there's no difference from what's happening in our local neighborhoods and up there. The only difference is, like, it's all corruption. The only difference is it's just the amount of money that's being brought in. And people want to get upset when it's certain individuals. If I don't care if it was a Republican or Democrat, hey, if they're doing something dirty, like what, hey, unless they break the law and the law hems them up, don't care. If you're in these neighborhoods doing something dirty and the law hems you up, that's on you. I'm not going to judge. Like, you do what you do, and if you get in trouble for it, you get in trouble for it. But to sit here like they're doing the last couple of days and to kind of cry over it, like,
yeah, but doesn't
like,
that kind of stuff happen all the time? Like,
it
in
does.
America, like,
but if you don't got
welfare and stuff.
Yeah, people play the system all the time. Well, yeah, you're right. Welfare. I know. There's some people out there that play welfare and they play it good, and then you want to be upset because these guys play the stock market. Like, man, if you're soaking up some welfare money and you ain't trying to really contribute to society, you ain't no better than them. I mean, yeah. Hey, and if you ain't got no skin in the game, if you ain't got no stocks, then and you're crying about it, then I don't know.
I have to hop off and go participate in life. I've been back here for too long. I think there's bigger fish to fry, America. And I'm going to mention this guy, Senator Paul. I'm talking about Rand Paul. A lot of people like him. I used to like him because he's a solid dude. Always stand up when it's time to stand up. He was always that one person to speak out on things that we were all talking about as Americans. So it felt good to have a representative do that. And then you watch him on the 6th, not object. Fine. They gave their reasoning behind it. Well, we shouldn't get involved. That's not our place. Then he did an interview with on ABC with George Papadopoulos, and he just outright says it. Did we have dead people vote? Absolutely. Did people vote twice? Yeah. Did our mail-in ballots screw us as well in the election? Yeah. Were any of our court cases heard? No. He openly says this stuff.
Sorry.
So tell me, how, sir, do you certify this election when you have all that knowledge?
Mm-hmm.
And you admit that the state secretaries went against the Constitution. They breached the Constitution when they didn't go to the legislators and include them on changing a law. They changed it without the legislators. That is against the Constitution. How do you certify this vote? And I've just lost so much respect for him because he went on, like you went on TV and you said this.
Mm-hmm.
How many millions of people saw that? Probably half of them didn't even pay attention to what he was saying.
Right.
That's where my focus is. I'm like, how? I keep bringing this interview back up. Like, are you guys looking at this? Do you see what he just said?
I mean, we could look over the last 4 years. There's been, we'll stick to the last 4 years, but there's always a lot of hypocrisy, and it doesn't go away because it doesn't. If it's not going to get somebody in trouble that the media or that certain people don't like, you're just not going to hear about it. And I'm with you on it. I've seen that. I've seen other stuff come out where politicians say stuff and they just don't get no airtime. Like Cuomo, Cuomo's an idiot, both of them. And he said some stuff today where about the COVID deaths in the nursing homes. And did anybody show it? No. Like he got very minimal airtime. And if they did show it, he sounds like a jackass. He sounds heartless. It just doesn't fit their agenda. So, but what they really feel is out there. You just got to listen.
Yes.
People aren't listening.
I just hope one day people stop living in La La Land. Like I'm in La La Land. Do you feel me? I am there. I'm happy, but I'm also very vigilant and I watch. I don't see how nobody else is cluing in on this. And I'm being so serious when I say that. If it offends you, I hope it does, because you are being willfully ignorant at this point. All this stuff they do is in our face. I just
100%. They've been doing it for years and years and years and years.
Hey,
doing it in front
Angela
of your face
Daw.
and not people not paying attention.
Sorry, that's what he said.
He blamed
God for death. He said, or maybe. He said something like, or maybe God did it, or maybe God did this, or something crazy like that. And I was like, what the? Who says that? I'm pretty sure it was China, not God. But hey.
Well, I'm gonna actually be the devil's advocate there. So,
wait, now you're gonna make me say.
I don't know what he said. I don't know exactly what he said. I didn't watch him because I don't watch him because I think he's a fucking moron. And I got my own problems with my fucking governor and my mayor in Chicago. But if he blamed God for the deaths, right? I've always said, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite now. So I think that my destiny was determined the day I was born. My story's been written. So if I die from COVID, if I die from lupus, if I die being shot as the police, that is God's choice. So I actually am going to agree with him on that.
I get it, but I feel like that not what you're saying. Like I get what you're saying, and I get where he's trying to go with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But and I believe that, yes, I understand. I believe that God is in control of all things. He knows all things. Yes, I get that. But humans are humans, and they're frail, and they fall short all the time. They make dumbass decisions all the time, and God is still going to be God, and God is going to still forgive. He's still going to love no matter what. I get that 100%. That God knew, and this was made. Perhaps this is the plan. Perhaps this is the plan, and all these steps have to be taken in order for the end to come out, the results to happen that we're supposed to happen. I understand that, but that's not what he's saying, though. I feel like what he's saying, though, was like a cop out. It wasn't China.
That's what I wanted. That's why I said I don't know what he said.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either, just based on that comment right there. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I'm one of those people that I do believe that my destiny is predetermined. So I wanted to say, well, he kind of got a point, but I'm sure he said it.
Well, let me play devil's advocate now. And then I'm going to go. You got my gears turning. God is all-knowing. He's omnipresent. But we're still human, and we have the ability to choose. I don't think that our death is foresawn. I think our choices put us in situations, shit happens.
Right.
So when people are like, oh, that was his time, I'm like, how do you know? You're not God. You don't know if God just said, I'm going to take you at this moment. Or like, I think life happens. I think he's still in control, but we're all down here practicing our free will.
Yes.
Very much so.
So I think I'm on your side of thinking, because I think that for me, I think what God has a plan, like, yeah, many of us are here, and yes, he might take some of us for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that necessarily happens to everybody. I do think, like, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go type of thing. Like when you're older and you're weak and you're frail, like, yes, when it's your time, he's going to take you home. But I also believe, on the other hand, if somebody murders you cold in the street, maybe that wasn't necessarily God's plan, because we do have free will, and that is why that is a sin, because you're not supposed to do that. And somebody took God's choice away from him to take you from this earth. So I agree with you. I think it's kind of a touchy subject there. Like, you can kind of go the way, but yeah, I don't think that God in this situation took those people. Not all of them, maybe a few. But
and I will add to that we have free will because God first chose us. Like, we're able to choose him because he chose us first. Not necessarily that we chose him and that's how come. Well, no, he chose us. That's why we're able to think of him and love him and have awe for him, revere him in that aspect. And because I was listening, because I've been going on this choice thing, and my friend who's also a pastor, one of the things that he's been talking about too is that either you're a slave to sin or you're a slave to Christ.
Yep. And
you can either be one or the other because he first chose you. He first chose us no matter what. And then the thing behind that, I was like, God, okay, kind of make this clear for me. Like, I get what he's saying, and I get what I'm saying, and I know what you told me and where I've been and what I've learned over the time or whatever. But at the end of the day, when we are spending time with him constantly and you have a relationship with the word and the truth, it is easier to make the right choice on a constant basis. Therefore, we're choosing because we first chose. He first chose us. Therefore, we chose him. And as we have this relationship with him, it's easier to continue that choice. Now, if you don't have a relationship with him in that way, then you then become a slave to sin, and you make those type of choices, those bad choices, the wrong choices that hurt yourself and others.
You know what? People can't say you're wrong because we've all lived that experience. Every single one of us. It's bro. The Bible is basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Correct. 100%.
I'm curious. Lori Willer,
Just read it, people.
Lori Willer, can you explain your question? Ask all those families how they feel about it. I'm just curious exactly what.
To COVID?
Yeah, is that the COVID thing? And
maybe she's asking that to me because I said that I believe that that's when someone's
oh,
at the time of birth. I don't know that she's asking that. I'm just guessing that maybe she's saying that to me. But we all have opinions. We're all entitled to them. That's just my opinion. I've always felt that way, and I'm gonna always feel that way. Nothing is gonna change that. Like
Thanks for having me.
All right, Suni.
I love
Thanks for
you.
having me
Your hair
on.
looks beautiful.
Thank you. And my head hurts, actually. I think I want to go to sleep.
I was saying that earlier. I was like, you're tired. You've been on all day.
Take some aspirin if your head hurts before you go to bed.
My God, my husband's playing PUBG. Yo, it's so funny.
He's like, yes, she's busy.
You guys have a good day. I'm going to be watching. I'll come to the
All right.
comment section.
Okay.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
How do I get out of here?
Leave studio.
So yeah, so for me, like I said, I just believe it that's the way things are. I've just kind of always believed that. I think,
Sarcasm. Ask the
God-
families how they feel about the governor's comments.
Oh,
oh yeah, the governor's an idiot. I won't deny that he's an idiot. And I wasn't trying to be like, oh yeah, one for him. No, I think he's a fucking idiot. Period. I don't care if he said the best thing tomorrow, like, oh Trump, I miss you. I would still think he's a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
hey, and just to be fair, it's even like I even did it with Trump. Like Trump says some good stuff, and then I'm like, then he says something really stupid. I'm like, come on, man, we were doing good for like a little bit, and then you had to go say that.
He well, this is the thing with Trump. I think that he gave plenty of ammunition to people.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Right. Now, that being said, especially because, and maybe things would have been different 20, 30 years ago, right? When people didn't have soft skin. Or people weren't sensitive.
Right.
Maybe things would have been very different. Now, you got to remember, Trump is what, 74?
He's been saying these things. All the things that he's, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think that he would have, I think that at a different time, he would have been received differently.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Hi.
Mark.
So I think that he would have been received differently. I think in this day, you cannot just freely say what you want to say, and especially if it's going to lean anything against a liberal ideology without being condemned, because you will be condemned.
Right.
You will be called all these things. Like I was watching a little bit of some show earlier, and she was talking about a show that she was on. She was on Be the Change. She was on Truth Will Set You Free. And they had
Oh yeah.
So she was talking a little bit about that, and I didn't watch it because I was waiting for her to do her show. So I didn't really watch it. I caught parts of it today, and this guy was really, really rude. And I tend to always find it funny, like literally funny. I mean literally funny, that a white man is sitting there telling a black woman about racism.
Right. Right.
It
Right.
doesn't make sense to me. Like, make it make sense. It just makes no sense. Or how you can feel that what she says is how you have an opinion about the way black people feel. I don't know. Like, unless you walked in their shoes, you don't know that. Just like someone will say, like, oh, you know, like Mexican this, or, and I look at them and I'm like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Like, unless you grew up in their house, you know, like I got some friends that are from Louisiana. They grew up literally in my house. So they could talk about all this stuff because they've lived that. But when you have no idea and you're just illuminating from white guilt,
Right.
like, it just doesn't make sense to me how you're fighting for my rights, yet you're trying to silence me in the process.
Right. That was like a one time Joel Patrick and the little blonde girl. I forgot her name already. The little blonde girl. But they were at a university or whatever, and there was someone there who a lady, light skin. I won't say that she was white because I don't know what she was. But she was like, she proceeded to tell him how he was oppressed. And I'm like, is she really telling him how he's oppressed and how he doesn't understand? That. And he's like, I'm not oppressed, but you are. Like, don't you understand?
That's
like,
the young black dude that walks around with the young white girl.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I watched that one.
Well, yeah, with the big truck.
Yeah, with the big truck.
What was the girl that 50 Cent used to date?
Which one?
I believe she's a white girl. And when the whole thing started on it, she went down. There's an article on it. She had to remind him about his blackness.
Oh, yeah. Chandler. Kelsey Chandler.
Yes. And I'm thinking, wait.
Yeah, and she talked about it and was like proud about it. I'm like, what? Like, why? I don't even know like how you would even think that was cool, like that it was okay, and then to spout out about it like you're proud.
Yeah.
No. No.
Even around that white guilt card.
Right.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I want to touch also really quick on our president's executive orders.
Which one?
He's up to 40 now, right?
Last time I checked.
Or is it 37?
37.
I can't remember where it was at, but I was reading something earlier. I think it was NBC, and they said next week, President Biden should be winding down on his executive orders. Like
winding down, like it's normal.
So, like, what part of next week? Are we talking like Monday, Tuesday, or are we talking like
Sunday,
Saturday? Like the very last day.
I'm trying to pull them up right now and see how many there are now.
Handler. Chelsea Handler. I said Kelsey Handler. Chelsea Handler. And what did I say? Kelsey Chandler?
We knew
you guys knew what I was talking about, yeah.
We knew who you were talking about. So I'm trying to look up and see how many he has right now. But I think I think the last time I looked at it was 37. And then I could have swore someone posted 40. Yeah, we're only up until January 27th. And today is what, the 28th or 29th?
29th.
So they're off by 2 days, but there's already 10 pages of shit. And the other day there was only 3 pages. So, they do have this stuff on here from the 29th. Hold on. Priest briefing. Executive order strengthening Americans' access to quality, affordable health care. Oh, God. All right, so we're at 1. We're at 2.
Did you just block him?
I'm trying to count them. Sorry. If you guys hear my son.
She thinks they're over 40. Is he watching a game?
He's playing freaking video games.
Oh. He's one of the loud ones.
Oh, he's very loud.
That's so funny.
He's super ass loud. He's
when my kids would want to go onto YouTube to watch gamers play, I'm like, just don't watch the ones that yell the whole time. So they learned to find ones that didn't cuss. They learned to find ones that didn't say inappropriate things. They learned to find ones that didn't yell all the time, so that I would approve.
So I'm going to pull this up really, really quick just so you guys can see, because I know so many people trust CNN. I particularly don't, to be honest. I think they're still fucking fake news.
Well, Lori has a good point. She says, I think all of this equity shit is a way to pay reparations without doing research and cutting checks, which they know would never fly. All these executive orders to like switch this back and to make this happen and do that. That's a good point.
So we are at 42.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So at 40, I was close because I believe that was earlier today. You know, they're updating that meme with the presidents for the last, I think it was like the last 5 or 6 presidents, and they have how many executive orders they had. in their first week or month. Yeah, they're updating it as they go. 42. That's crazy.
We're at 42.
And nobody's doing anything about it. Like, is this not?
He shouldn't be doing it. I mean, and this is
this not like ethical, like an ethics problem?
There's other parts to government, and he's just taking it all to himself, and that's why he's making these executive orders. But really, it's like, from what I was getting, because I've been doing a lot of like trying to do some research on it. You do the executive order when I believe it's the other branches, like they can't come to a decision and something has to happen, or then he steps in. He's like, okay, this is the direction we're going to go. And
but I don't feel like that's what's happening.
No, it's not, because over the years,
I feel like he's just doing it.
But it's not just him though. There's other presidents. Like over the years, they've gotten more and more lax with it, and they started doing more and more of them to where it's just, if they want to push their agenda or an agenda, they're doing it. What I thought was funny, I was watching Gavin Newsom today. And he was talking about all the bipartisan and all this great stuff going on in Congress and the Senate, and with the president, and how they're making all this stuff happen. I was like, well, yeah, of course, because it's all Democrats, and they're not going to get a whole bunch of pushback, which is the other reason why I don't think you're going to hear so much. Like, yeah, he's kicking out executive orders, but if everything's being ran by the Democrats, yeah, the only people that are going to kick back are people like us, because the Republicans obviously tuck their tails. I'm talking politicians, not people, but a lot of those politicians just tuck their tails and ran for it. They're not even trying. You got a very few people that are actually saying like, hey, this isn't right. What is he doing? Like, how are we allowing him to? He's up to like, what did she say? Over 30?
42.
32.
42. Almost damn near 50 already in the first less than 30 days.
Less than 30 days, less than 10 days. He's been in office for 9.
But today I'm about to sign 2.
9 days.
Basically.
9 days, and he's almost signed 50. And he's supposed to slow down at the end of, or sometime next week. Guarantee it'll be 50, 55.
Oh, no, it's 10 days. 10 days. Tomorrow's 11.
Whatever. Almost 50 in 10 days.
Yeah.
How? I just don't understand. Like, how is this? How is nobody doing anything about it? Like, it's not right.
I mean, he can sign them and people could fight back. Like it could get to this, depending on what he's pushing.
Well,
it could get down to
Texas is fighting him.
Yeah, Texas.
But that's just one state, though. We need more than that.
Yeah, but come on, let's be real. You got all these Democratic states, and it's not even it's the states where you got the Democratic governors, or they just got a lot of Democrat politicians. Like,
but really that's why we as a people need to stand up and shout about this, because it's not right. But
that's what's going to happen when this next election comes up for the
but why do we have to wait 4 years?
Because we got to vote.
Can't we the people make a petition to get that guy out of there, just like we're making a petition to get Newsom out?
Because it doesn't always work like that. Like,
why not?
Because you could do the impeachment process, and you can try to, like right now, we're signing for Newsom. Like, go to our page. I know we both posted it. Like, we want Newsom out. Like, yes, we can do it. And they keep finding
loopholes and sending it back.
Yeah,
like, I know,
but the quickest way is to vote them out. Like, I'll tell you specifically in California, like, I'd like to see more people wake up, realize that, hey, a lot more of us are conservative than you think you are, especially to my Hispanic Latino community out there. Stop voting Democrat. I hate to say this, but we need to start voting a little bit more Republican in California, because they're not doing us any good. And that's what needs to happen, is we need to wake people up and get them away from this Democratic Party. We need that divide. We need that 50-50 back in the country. And the best way to do it is it's going to come from 2 years from now when we start voting out.
2 years from now.
The reality is we're kind of stuck right now. And
I feel like we as a people, if we're the ones that have the power, I feel like that's not true. But
that goes back to, like, if we as a people were really together, then we would have never put Biden in presidency. But I honestly feel like America has to fail. I know some people, like, and I've gotten into with people, but my thing is, like, your biggest lessons in life are the ones that you fail at. Like when you're a kid, you do something wrong, you don't know how to ride your bike or something, you fall, either you stop doing it and you stop riding your bike, or you learn from your failure and you start doing it. Or if you fail a class or whatever it is, like sometimes you got to fail hard, hit your face in order to learn something. And I feel like that's what America's going through. I feel like we got to fail really hard. We got to crumble. I hope it doesn't get to civil war, because it's not what I want to see. But things just like people really have to feel it. And then they'll go, oh man, and I'm not saying the Republican Party is the way to go by any means. I'm not. But it's just voting wiser, whether they're Republican or Democrat. We have to start voting for people that are actually going to stick up for us. And we're not. And therefore, Biden and people like him are just going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, but why? They said we can't recall a president. We have to vote. Well, can't we just start a petition ourselves to say that we as a people vote Biden out? Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? Don't we have the power to do that?
You're not going to get it.
What do you mean I'm not going to get it? What if I will? What if I do?
Go ahead. Good luck.
Good luck.
Where in Cali are you? Northern California.
You're supposed to be behind me on this. Husband.
I think that it's not.
I know where you sleep.
When you have all these people in Congress, when you have all these people in the Senate, and they have all this power, I think Chris is right.
Sucks, but
I would love you to be right, John Tisha, because I would join that train, you know.
Okay, so what if I start that then to impeach? You guys just have to protect me because I don't want to die. But I'm still going to pray for me.
Don't go all
constantly.
AOC on this.
Excuse me?
Nothing.
Did you just call me AOC?
No, I said don't start acting like her. Like don't do that. Anyway, so
I will cut you off right now.
Anyway, so moving on.
You better apologize. Apologize right now.
I'm sorry. Anyways, moving on. So we tried that with Newsom. Look at how many times we've done it. People don't want to do it. Like we get on a roll.
They do want to do it. We have reached the numbers, and they found some kind of loophole and pushed it back. So we have to keep fighting.
Yeah,
we have to keep going, and we have to make the effort.
But there's a lot. LA doesn't really want it gone yet. Like if LA alone stepped up, it'd be good. And my point is.
But there's enough people in the United States to sign and say that we don't want Biden.
People aren't going to do it.
Why not?
Because people don't want it. We need to fail. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's like, it's just not going to happen because people are afraid or people are lazy. Like they'll go out and vote. There's a lot of people that don't vote in general. And then, so the reality is like people, for me, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of glad Biden's in because I feel like Trump was trying to do good things. The media just beat him up and the people didn't support him nor take the time to really listen. I feel like
Tim, I hear you.
We
Tim.
really need to get to feel the wrath of Biden. And maybe when we get a good taste of what they could really do to us, the next time around, people will start using their heads to vote and not their emotion and actually getting off their ass and going out there and vote or signing these petitions. Like I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to some things just failing and people just eating it and eating it hard.
Yeah, I know.
And then maybe they'll learn.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I get that the struggle is where the beauty is, and the struggle is where you learn and you get build and grow and all that stuff. I know.
He's sleeping alone tonight. Oh no, we're playing. It was all a skit. It was an act.
It was not a skit.
Anyways, back to you, Shelly.
Chris wants to do a skit now.
Yeah. He was like, no, it was all in play.
And back to Shelly for the rest of the news. And go.
I have the mouse, so you can't mute it now.
What else did I want to talk about? Let me see. I wrote a bunch of shit. I wanted to talk about the executive orders. I don't know. There was one he put in as like for what the fuck was it called? I'm sorry, I can't even think right now. There are so many executive orders. It was the one about for minorities, for equality or some shit. Did you guys know which one I'm talking about?
I think
I'm sorry,
do.
what?
Is it, you sure it's the equality or the equity?
Probably the equity.
Maybe it was equity.
Sounds right. Sounds right up there.
Was it regarding like minorities, like people of brown and black?
Yeah, it was something like that. I'm looking right now. Executive order on, this is whitehouse.gov, executive order on advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. Without actually getting into it, just from the title, support underserved communities through the federal government. I think we need to start getting the government out of a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
They're way too involved in our lives. They're way too involved in our schools.
Mhm.
They're way too involved in our marriages and a whole bunch of stuff. Like they just make a mess of things because they're so involved. They become dictators in a sense.
Mhm.
And then to say that this executive order, I haven't read it, but just from the title, if it's the support for underserved communities, how about no federal government? Don't do that. Biden, we don't need your executive orders. What needs to happen is people need to get out in their own damn community and start taking care of it. Because no matter how many executive orders he signs, if people don't care about, like, I'm just going to take it to Stockton, California. If Stockton don't care about Stockton, why should the government care? They're not going to care. They're just going to kick out more money, and it's just going to go into somebody's pocket. So for those of you who are familiar with the area, like you head down Hazleton and Stockton is full of bums. You got all these people talking about let's clean it up. Governor Newsom's talking about Operation Home Key, but yet how come when I drive down the street I see bums out there? Like, no, to me this is just another executive order that's not going to fulfill anything because the people don't even want to take care of their own communities. So how's Biden going to help them? Let's see what
I agree. I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel like all this talk about, I don't know. Like, let me ask you guys, as Latinos, do you guys feel like you're oppressed?
at home.
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
I wasn't gonna go there.
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
No. Yeah, that's no to the
That's
at home
funny.
thing. But no, I don't personally. I think I've had things happen in my life, like, I ran into some people that might have been like, I don't think they were racist, but I think they had a prejudice or bias towards, especially where we grew up in our little town, like there was a prejudice towards the Hispanic Latino community or the Mexican community, whatever we want to call it. I think they had that, but I think as times went on, like things have changed, especially in California, like the Bay Area, Northern California, even LA. LA has the same thing. Like it's so diverse that to me, no, because California is like, that's the way things are put out here. Like if you want to make it somewhere, like you got to hustle and you look at and you got to work harder. You got to do something. So for me, it's like, I've never felt oppression. I've always had the mindset, like as long as I put my mind to it, man, I could do something. And I never felt like the white man was holding me down. And I never felt like my white friends had a head start. I just didn't. And I still don't feel like that, because when we look around us, like people say like, oh, white people should be ahead of you. But again, like when I look at the surrounding cities, like Modesto, Stockton, California, like whether one you want to go to, Sacramento, like you got white people that are poor too. Like I just don't. I'm not saying it doesn't happen everywhere, but I'm saying just here in this part of California, I don't think it's there. I don't, and I've never felt it. If anything, I feel like my own people have tried to keep us down because they tell us negative shit all the time, and they try to put some like these. I won't say thoughts, but there's some stereotypes and things that come along. Like they put things like, don't be whitewashed. Like if you start doing too good, like don't be whitewashed. Don't act like the white people. Like what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting to make some money? So no, not really.
Because I feel like I feel a lot of times too, like especially like when they're always talking about these executive orders. Like I will say that I have heard Biden mentioning Latinos more now. And I think that, they group us all, well, minorities, right? Because it's not just Black and Latino, there are other minorities. But I'm just honestly, for myself, I'm just tired of being put into those group where like, oh,
Mhm.
put into this group, feel sorry for them, feel some type of way for them, or you know, just to where we are now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Where we are now, where you need an executive order for equity. Like, what the
Like,
fuck does that? What the fuck does that even mean? Like, what are
right.
you gonna do to make sure that shit is leveled on the playing field? Like,
Right.
are you gonna give me some super fucking Sonic as running legs?
Right.
Are you like, just make it make sense? I really can't even find words because that's how fucking stupid it is to me.
Right. Or how are they going to make sure that you're teaching your kids equity? How are you going to make sure that parents and families are teaching their kids how to treat others with respect, how to treat others how they want to be treated? Like, that's a personal thing you start in your home. That's like a thing that we should be teaching our kids on a constant basis. Should have been for centuries been doing this, and it hasn't been done. But how is the government going to step in and make sure that we're treating other people that way, or businesses are treating other people with? Didn't they already have that in place?
Yeah.
Isn't that what equal opportunity is? Equal what employment opportunity?
That goes into I don't want to jump subject, but because you brought up something in, I'm tired of like
I
the
also
race.
have something about the government stepping in with financial stuff too.
All right, so I'll go real quick and then you can. So like what you were saying, like I'm tired of people like of them saying like we're oppressed as a people, and it's especially like it's hard for me to believe when I see people that are supposed to look like me and be like me and be a minority, especially when they're out there and they're rich and they're famous or they're owning businesses in my community, like. And then they turn around and tell us this, but Nay Well said, like, I'm oppressed because I'm living in New York, not because of the color of my skin. I'm somebody like, I'll constantly say, like, hey, demographics plays a part. Just like I'll say, there might still be some racist people out there, but demographics plays a part. If you're like in Louisiana or Mississippi or something like that in the swamps, I don't know, because I've never really been there and I visited, but demographic plays a part. Maybe where you live, maybe it's there. If you feel oppressed and you live in San Francisco, well, it's because you live in San Francisco and you have to pay $4,400 for a room that's 10 by 10 because you want to live in the city. Like, of course you're going to feel oppressed. Please, by any means, don't come out here because we got enough Bay Area people, and now you're making us feel oppressed because you're driving our prices up. But
that's true.
I agree. Like, it's a lot of times they do it because race catches emotion. And if they throw the race out there and they get you emotional, then you tend to side with them. And I'm tired of it myself.
I'm just really over it, to be honest. And I had a conversation, I won't say the name of the person, with a Black person who said, well, you don't understand because you're not Black. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So being Mexican in America, I don't understand what it's like for people to call you a wetback.
Or spick.
Or a spick. Or to say that I swam my way to America.
When we took a train.
Or call me a beaner.
Have you seen those videos? There's videos of, so when all this was popping off in the summer, there were these videos that were circling. I don't know how many people seen them, but there are videos, vines of the street workers, right, with their carts and their fruit, and the Mexican workers who are always on the street or on the corners or whatever selling their food. Well, there was a video of young Black American men running up and hitting them or taking their food, or I don't know what it was on. I just know I seen it on Facebook, and it said Latino lives matter too. And I'm like, well, yeah, because this shit happens all the time, but nobody talks about it.
And I'm with you.
And I understand they're talking about police and whatever. But oppression is oppression. Prejudice is a prejudice. Abuse is abuse.
We all do it. All our people do it. Not gonna say we do it, but all our people do it. We do it to each other, and we do it to other people.
And that's the thing, is that I'm never gonna say that racism does not exist, right? I believe it does exist. And I believe there are people who have certain prejudice for whatever reasons they have them, right? I don't understand it because I don't have that in me.
It's
But
learned.
it's kind of funny to me when people, like I said, when I had this conversation, I was kind of shook. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, do you know how many people have asked me if my parents got their green cards? Or I don't count because my parents are not legal? And I'm like, first of all, only one of my parents is Mexican. But I mean, literally, like they had no clue. And I had to start thinking about why someone would think that we're so very different and how we're so separate that we don't know those things about each other's lives. Like I grew up in a Hispanic and Black neighborhood, and my best friends were Black, and I knew a lot about their families. I knew a lot about their churches. I knew a lot about a lot of things about them, like the ins and outs of who they were specifically and who their families were. Like my mom was the type of mom, like I didn't have friends unless she knew the parents, and they had to have interaction.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Right.
we knew about them. I knew what days he went to church. I knew what time he would be back. Like I would know all these things about them. So for someone to tell me like they had no idea, or to say to me, like, you don't know what it's like.
Right.
Okay, maybe I don't, because my skin color is not that dark, but I know what it's like to be called names. I know what it's like to be ridiculed. I know what it's like for people to look at you funny because of the color of your skin, or people because you're poor. Even poor people. Like you
Right.
ever had someone look at you like you were gonna steal something, even though you weren't gonna steal shit?
Mhm.
Like I've never stolen anything a day in my life, never, ever, because I was terrified of my mom. But my thing is they put us in these categories, right? Like Black, Latinos. They keep us all separate, and I'm
Mhm.
thinking like we don't have to stay there.
No,
Why do you want to stay there? I don't want to stay there.
Correct.
you really do have some people, like you got some people out there on, and I'm talking Black, brown, whatever. You have some people out there that want separation because they feel that with separation comes fairness, equality, equity. And I know because I've had conversations with people that believe that. And to me, that's crazy, because if you separate, then we just go back to what we were, 60, 70 years ago, where we're fighting to not be separate. So that was just a waste of time. And on the same hand, too, it's like, I kind of get where you're coming from, because like me, like Black Lives Matter is going, right? I disagree with some of the things that are going on. And the first thing that happens is like, oh, well, that's because you don't understand because you're not Black. But then I'll be like, well, I'm asking, well, you guys didn't go through the same struggles. You didn't go through slavery. Yeah, but my people were treated like shit in California. They were dragged behind trucks and all this other crazy shit. Yeah, but you didn't lay the foundation for this country. Like, bitch, we grow a lot of food for the whole country. Like, if we weren't here, you'd starve. Like, then you play this pity patty game, like, oh, who was more oppressed? And I'm like, fuck it, I'm done, because that's not what it's about. And then it's like, well, like they go back to, well, you just don't get it because you're not Black. But then, hey, can you come support this movement because
Right.
this is about Black and brown people?
Right.
Well, guess what? Joe Biden said it himself that not all the brown people, we don't all think alike.
Yeah.
And that's the God honest truth, because Mexicans might not all think
I
like
thought you were gonna
Salvadorians.
say that other quote.
What?
I'm not gonna say.
I'm like, dark skinned Mexicans might not think like light skin or Mexicans,
No,
whatever you
he
want to
said
say.
they're
Like,
more diverse.
we're more diverse. Puerto Ricans might not have exactly the same culture as the Mexican or Honduran or Ecuadorian or whoever's coming over. Like, yeah, we have slight differences. And sometimes we have major differences. He was very correct on that. We don't all think alike. And because of that, we all voted different. But then when you come to us for support, and I'm like, no, because I'm not feeling that. Then I'm told, well, you don't understand. And that just creates more divide.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, like that's what you're saying. All we're doing is dividing ourselves more and more. We either want it or we don't want it, and they're forcing it on us.
Yep. I agree 100%. I'm just like, so with the whole, it all started with an executive order.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was
But-
actually going to go back to that because that I had sent you guys. So one thing that Robin Hood snacks, it's called Robin Hood snacks. They're little bits of information of what's going on in the world, what's going on in politics, and how that affects the market, and what you can expect to see or what might happen because of this. How is it good? How is it bad for investing? And one of the things was, I sent this to the group chat, and it was incoming Senate Banking Chairman Sherrod Brown wants government administered bank accounts and tight financial regulation. So if everyone's getting upset with all the stuff that's going on right now, but this is an incoming Senate Banking Chairman. This is who Biden is trying to put in that seat or put onto his administration or whatever to push this. He's backing him to push this for government to control government administered bank accounts and tight financial regulation. So if you think that you're having a hard time coming up in America right now with whatever choices and decisions or whatever life's throwing at you or whatever, like just imagine what that's going to be like. It's not going to be pretty. You don't want the government to be all up in your business, especially your money.
Hey, well, so the definitions real quick, because that executive order, getting back on topic, the term equity. So what they're saying, equity means the consistent and systemic, fair, just, and impartial treatment of all individuals, including individuals who belong to underserved communities that have been denied such treatment. And then it goes into Black, Latino, Native American, yada, 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 LGBTQ, persons with disabilities, and so on. So he does break down what equity means. And then underserved communities refers to population sharing a particular characteristic, as well as geographic communities that have been systemically denied a full opportunity to participate in aspects of the economic, social, and civil life, as exemplified by the list in the preceding.
Like you have to hit these
equity
requirements in order to be
and
need equity or be eligible to receive this or whatever. Lori Willer said, a friend of ours works for a major company and they received letters the day after Biden was inaugurated, letting them know that they will be hiring and promoting only people that have not been given equity. And here's that list that you're saying. There's a list of requirements for a person to check off if they haven't received equity.
So in a sense, and this is where there's this like an oxymoron, I guess we can call it. He's saying you got to give people a chance that are in this category, but then on the same hand, there's the laws for equal opportunity that says you will not discriminate based on race, color, religion, or any of that stuff. So you can't discriminate against it, but we're going to provide you opportunities if you fit into this category.
Correct.
So pretty much, if you're white, you're straight, and yeah, that's kind of it. We're not going to take care of you. But if you're anything else other than that, then we're going to make sure it's equitable,
right.
And you're now going to get the opportunities. That's discriminatory against that group of people. And we say we don't want to go backwards. We're trying to move forward, and we're trying to be in unity. And I disagree with it. I disagree with that executive order, because all that's going to do is I'm sorry, I shouldn't even say that. We don't, as people, want to be divided more, and we don't want any more racial tensions, and we want to be united. But yet, this right here is going to drive inwards. I'm tired. I'll be honest with you. I'm tired of the white and black thing. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of seeing it on the news. They're constantly pumping it out. They're making it like it's still alive. This is what's going to keep that alive. This executive order is going to separate white people from everybody else. And I won't be upset when white people get mad because they're being discriminated against. And a lot of them don't deserve it. And they're going to say, oh, their family owns slave. Not all white people's families own slave. And a lot of those white people came over here later on after slavery. If you were Italian, Portuguese, or anything, and you came through, what was it, Nellis Island in New York?
Ellis
Island, I knew something like that, where the Marine Corps bases, I think that's where it's at, somewhere over there. If you came through New York and your family migrated, and they immigrated. here to the United States after slavery, you should not be accused of it. And that's what they're going to do. I think they're just going to divide us. It's going to cause more racial tension, and it's going to be white versus everybody else. And that's wrong.
Right. I agree. It's like now all of a sudden, like white people are switching places with the racism and stuff that Black people or people of color had to deal with at one time. It's like, okay, now throw you here, and now they're the bad guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, first of all, like people tend to forget when we talk about racism, like there were Irish people that were slaves. There were women were put in brothels.
Oh, and that's one of those subjects where I'm bringing that up. Well, that's not, I seen that one. It's not the same type. They were indentured servants, whatever. And that's
but
where
a slave is a slave.
That's where we get into this thing of you just start going back and forth, and people just want to argue. They say, well, they weren't real slaves. America started slavery. No, read your Bible. There was slavery in the Bible. Oh, America started the jail system and the prison system. Again, no, read your Bible. And Jesus was locked up. I mean, come on.
And and before then there was jails.
Yeah, like this stuff is not new to earth. And yet you think we learn from it, but we don't. We're just going back and forth. And then what Lori Willer said something about she's scared because of her Mets kids.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is like they treat trying to divide us. But what happens if you're in that black and white family where the dad's black or the mom's black and the other parent's white, and now they're saying, you know, you're going to tear apart families because and now that kid, and I know they said, well, if you're 1% black, you're black. Why do you have to be that? That's dumb. And I feel like as a Latino in the Hispanic Latino community, I felt like we've gotten past that. We don't really see that. Like I know Mexicans down here in California, like you can have a really dark Mexican and a red hair, you know, light eye.
You can
Mexican.
have a light skinned, blue eyed, blonde hair Mexican and little kid too.
We don't see skin color because why? First of all, Mexican's a nationality, but two, I think we've gotten past that in certain cultures. But then when you come to America, all of a sudden it comes back and you start feeling a certain type of way. And then when you bring it up, like myself, they'll be like, oh, well, that's because you're Hispanic and that comes from white blood or whatever. It's like, it's always some stupid shit just to keep the racial shit going.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree 100%. There was which other executive order that I wanted to talk about? It was not just the one on equity. It was what was it? I can't think right now. I'm having a brain fart. And I didn't write it down because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna know it. It's like right there. Anyway, I can't think of it right now. But
you don't know what it had to do with?
No, I can't think because my son is in the room screaming. He's driving me nuts. I want to gag his ass. But I'm trying to think of what the hell it was.
What does that have to do with?
I don't know. Look, and I just wrote executive orders because I was like, oh, I'm going to remember them. No problem. I'm going to remember them.
And that's real quick. Sherry Levine said, yeah, I had a conversation with a Latino friend and I was told that whites are getting a taste of racism. One, I would like to clarify that Hispanic Latinos, most of us are the same, but we're not all the same. There is a difference, but most of us are Hispanic Latino. They drop Hispanic because Hispanic has whiteness in it. And you'll start seeing more of that. And two, white people getting a taste of racism. That goes back to, again, how not all white people are racist. And racist comes with a superiority thing. If anything, I'm a believer that we have few racists in the United States. We do have a lot of prejudice and bias.
And also, how does that make it right though? Like, how does it make it right? There's right and there's wrong. There's no partially right or a little bit right or a little wrong. It's either wrong or it's right. And racism is wrong. And treating other people like shit is wrong. And treating other people like they don't matter is wrong. Why do you think there's self-help books? And why do you think there's so many people out there trying to talk about encouragement and love and light and loving yourself and, all these things. If it wasn't wrong, then there wouldn't be other people trying to correct all of that wrong thinking and perspective about themselves in this world. So they're getting a taste of it, but it's still wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I can't, for the life of me, I can't think of what it was. But
I mean, I don't blame you. There's 42 of them.
Yeah, we'll come back around to it, I'm sure.
Like my mind, I just can't. But yeah, there are. I didn't even realize there were 42. I think the last time I checked, there were 37. So I'm probably gonna read some of them tonight to see what more he's adding. Like, I don't know what more he could possibly want in his first 9 days in office. You know what I mean? I honestly, you guys want to hear my conspiracy theory?
Yep. Yep.
He's trying to put all this shit out there so that when they get rid of his ass and Camel Toe's in there, she's gonna blame it all on Joe Biden.
Oh, I'm sure.
That wasn't me, that was him. And now I'm gonna come and save a hoe and save America.
Hey, here's a joke. You know what you and Kamala Harris have in common?
Well, who?
You and Kamala Harris. You know what you guys have in common?
What?
You both took the bus to get to school.
True.
That's it though. That's it though. That's all you guys have in common.
Hey, and you know what me and Joe Biden have in common? It was a racial jungle. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
It was a racial jungle. Look at that. We had a funny, you guys. Insulin pipeline, border wall.
Hey, that insulin one, like for real, like not happy with that at all. Like on what level of thinking does anyone think that it's okay to raise the price of medicine that people need? Like they want social healthcare, right? They want universal healthcare, but they want to raise the prices of medicine. Like that doesn't make any sense. No sense at all. Like,
yeah, you got
none of that makes sense. We're not happy about it because there's so many people that need it. We know enough people personally that rely on these medicines. Our daughter, like you, or our niece, like you, she has lupus. She needs these medicines. You know what I mean?
Niece.
Like, what did we say? What did I just say?
Daughter, niece.
Did I say daughter twice?
I think so.
My bad. Niece.
You said niece the second time.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's when I thought.
The
Stop
immigration enforcement policy.
Say
That's
again?
one. Immigration enforcement policy.
Yeah, that happened.
Boom.
Yeah.
That was it, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, because I had a feeling that might be the one.
That's why I love him and John Tisha.
I was looking for it. I was like, what was Shelly? Because I was like, COVID, like this all shit you talked about. I know there's one in here, and boom, there it is.
Whoop, there it is.
Immigration enforcement policy and priorities.
Oh, and not only that, well, yes, we'll talk about that. But in case I forget, I got to spit it out right now because, I've been without my lupus medication my infusions since November. So
is that good?
Well, this is the thing. So I was supposed to get it the first week of December, and then I was going to get it the second week because I was working on an apartment that we have. And when I was going to get it, I got COVID. So it wound up, I'm telling you, God is good all the time. Because had I gotten that infusion while I have COVID, it drops my immune system even lower so that my white blood cells don't attack one another. So I am the most vulnerable at those moments.
I see.
So thank God I didn't get it.
Right.
And then because I had COVID and I still had symptoms for such a long time, like I was on lockdown for 20 straight days.
Yeah.
And then because I still had like the nasal congestion and all that stuff, so they're like, well, we're not going to give it to you until you're clear of any symptoms whatsoever. So I still have to go see my doctor next week to see if I can get it. So I've been almost 3 months without it.
Right.
So being 3 months without it, I'm starting to feel it. Like,
I was going to say.
The brain fog, the joint pain, little things. But I'm just like, so
Timing,
so
right?
that what?
Timing.
Yeah, timing. Exactly. So,
Gina said that New York passed the camp bill for people they feel are sick. That's the those little quarantine camps, right? That we were talking about before. Because I know they were talking about it before, and she said they just passed that bill. Please tell me they didn't. Please tell me that's not for real. I was reading it among your
and I wanted to
infusion.
Yes. So also like
FEMA camps.
This whole thing about funding abortions outside of America. What are your guys' thoughts?
Why? Just like anything else. Why?
Yeah. One, I don't think the government should be funding any abortions, with maybe the exception of a few rare cases. But when it comes to abortions, I'm pro-life. I think unless it's like a really young girl that was raped, I don't think we should do it, much less here, much less we fund anything outside of the United States. To me, that's just a big no-no. Like, I don't think we should, at this point, I don't think we should be kicking anybody outside of the United States for any reason. I know we're going to do it for political reasons, and there's other strategic reasons that we might do it, but
well,
and I get where there's countries that really, really need it, or the people really, really need it because we've been doing it for a while. Like, I get that. Like, I understand that.
Need money, not abortions.
No, yeah. I'm sorry. I meant money. I meant funds. I understand where, because my first statement was I don't think we should be sending any money anywhere other than our own country. On the same hand, I understand when it comes to finances, sending it to other countries. I understand that there are some who really, really need it and could really benefit from it. Now, as far as abortions, I think that goes, well, on because you said for those rare circumstances where it's a young kid or whatever that you would consider it, because I know we've had that talk before where it's either wrong or it's not wrong. That kind of goes in that same thing. Like, what are the abortions for? Like, is it for that same reason? Because I know that there are some countries where rape happens and shit like that happens a lot, and that happens. Like, I know that there are countries like that. Like, is it for countries like that, or is it just for, because they're trying to regulate population, or is it because, you know what I mean? Like, there's that wonk. And what am I thinking too much? But I'm just saying, like, you got to think about it, because you think about it here. There's a lot of people. There are people in America who use it as contraception also.
Yeah. So no, yeah, I think for me, it's like, I disagree with it here. I'm definitely disagreeing it somewhere else.
So my whole issue with it, and I am pro-choice to an extent, right? Like, I know it comes with clauses, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that if a woman, for whatever reason, feels that that's her only choice, whatever the circumstances in, I believe that should be done in maybe the first 8 weeks, right? First trimester, no longer than that. That's just me. I also feel
she's right, though.
I feel that if a woman wants to get an abortion, she should pay for it herself.
Yes.
I believe that I wouldn't mind my taxes going to pay for it if it's something like a rape,
mm-hmm.
A child, stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't mind my taxes paying for that. I
say child, like, in case, like, if we're talking little child, like, if their body can't handle it, or if it's going to do something really damaging to them, that's where I'm like, hey, I could understand that. But if you're fucking 21 years old and you're just having unsafe sex, then
right. Well, no, that's why I said rape. Like, If a woman, even if a woman, if she's a grown woman and she's raped and she gets pregnant, and the government decides they're going to, because she's part of some victim act, that they're going to help her, then okay, it is what it is, right? But I think that if an adult who is just having unsafe sex decides they want to have an abortion, then you should pay for that yourself.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so I got one for you.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was saying in these comments, like the selling of baby parts, harvesting parts, like, you know, that's a real thing though. Like that is a real thing. So that is another part of it. Like I forgot about that part. So thank you guys for posting it in there, because that's a whole that's a whole other rabbit hole, but that is real. And so that kind of goes back into that thinking of like, what are they involved in? What are they doing? Like, why is it such a big thing that there has to be executive orders, or that it has to be snuck into these big ass bills that nobody's paying attention to? I'm sure they've been doing it for years, but like that goes back to that whole wake the fuck up, excuse my language, and really pay attention, because that is real. Just like human trafficking, human and adult and child trafficking all constantly happens, along with drug trafficking, all that stuff. Like that is a real thing. And the baby parts, that is a whole thing too, because I know, like I've read about them human trafficking specifically to breed, right? Specifically to get these young children, because they're young children, the younger the better, to get them pregnant, and then, you know, so on and so forth. Like, ugh. It's gross and it's crazy, but sometimes the truth is unbelievable, but it's real. So I believe that is another thing. So again, Bonnie was like, but if we don't fund it here, then why should we fund it somewhere else? I agree, 100%. I agree.
So, and that was my next point, was that, like I said, I feel that if a woman wants to do something, and like I said, I don't believe in second term or third term abortions. I just don't.
Oh, definitely not.
I think the first trimester, you had plenty of time to think about what you need to do. And my second point was, why should we pay for that anywhere else?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't want to even fucking pay for it here in America.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, like, I understand the whole point of, we help other countries, we do certain things for other countries. I understand that, but we are in the middle of a pandemic. And if I'm not mistaken, the president that we have and his entire squad have been pushing this pandemic down our throats, right? That's why we are masking. That's why businesses are closed. That's why we're in the midst of all this stuff, right? Because Trump wanted to open everything, right? So this regime is all about this. Do you guys hear my son? I'm gonna throw punches at him.
That's hilarious.
But this regime, who, you know, COVID, you know, all this fucking shit they've been shoving in our face about COVID, and now the American people are hurting. That's what they've been saying, right? For months. How dare Donald Trump? For months. But you want to send money for abortions when there are American people that are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Hey, so I got one for you real quick.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, so here's something that I don't know if anybody's ever thought about this, but because I'm constantly hearing the woman's right to choose. It's a woman's right. It's their body, their right, right?
Oh, that drives me nuts, because the other day someone was like that the father shouldn't have any say. My
body, my choice. Okay, well, it takes two to make a baby. So your body, your choice. That baby starts to grow. Well, what about me in this? So we have a kid. I get it's your body, but that's our baby because that's a part of me. So, and that's something where it's like, I think people forget, like, hey, it takes two to tango, two to make a baby, but yet, what are you doing? Pulling hair? Like, I just got random hair. Just.
I was like, I felt like a hair on my shirt, and I'm pulling, like, but it was stuck. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, what the fuck?
But I agree.
I'm sorry.
But I agree with you.
No, yeah. No, but I'm just saying, like, you know, there's another person involved, I think if unless you don't know who the daddy is and then you want to go do it, but like if you know who the dad is, I think the dad should definitely have a say so. So for like me and my son's mom, that was something she thought of, and I was like, yo, no. I mean, was I ready to be a dad? No, but did I make those choices? Yes. And I didn't realize at the time, but I was pro-life. I know it kind of came off like, well, you don't have a say so. It's my body if I want to do it. But it's like, yo, but that's our kid. And what I think is messed up is that it's your body, your choice for, say, or sorry, a woman's body, their choice, right? And if you want to get rid of the kid, then you're the only one that has a say so and you can do it. But if you want to keep the kid and fuck me over, you can do that too. And I still don't have a choice in that because the government has stripped me from a lot of rights. And I think that's messed up because if I know there's a lot of good dads out there. Let me put it like that. I know some good dads out there. They're single dads and they take care of their kids. I take care of my kids. I took care of my son. And I just think that that's a lousy way to say, hey, it's okay. And I'm not saying for the people that are raped or something happens, but it's just a lousy way to say it's okay to just not be in a relationship and just to make babies. If you want to get rid of it, cool. But if you want to stay with the dude and take him for some money, hey, we're the government. We're going to allow you to do that because we're on your side. But who's on this guy's side? And I don't think that's looked at. And when it does get brought up, then you get shamed for it, which I don't care because
I agree 100% with you, Chris. I agree 100% with you. Now, when I say that I am, I guess, and I'm not talking about me personally, yes. I mean, I've said it before. I had an abortion when I was younger. I was in a really bad place. And it's been the worst choice I've ever made in my life. I've had like regrets that is at some points have been unbearable. And, but I feel that when I say like it's a woman's choice, I think that with that, right? Because it's my body, my choice. That's the movement, right? But I think that in that same respect, okay, well, what if, like you said, when it comes to a dad, right? Like maybe like how can you say that he has no choice because it's not his body, right? It's not his body, so he has no choice, but it is his child.
Right.
Yeah.
It is his child. And then when that child is born, he's going to have to, if things don't work out, whatever, he's going to have to pay child support. He's going to have to be responsible for this kid, etc. So I do agree that it's not an even tipping scale. Well, I mean, I've been talking about fathers' rights before fathers' rights were even a thing because I thought, I don't think it's fair at all. I don't think it's fair. I think that there are amazing fathers. I know some amazing fathers. And I think that it's not fair whatsoever. So I agree with you 100%, exactly what you're saying. And I think that if a woman decides like, hey, on the opposite end, I want to have this baby and he has no right, or like I don't know which way to fix it, to be honest. I just think people start wearing protection if you're going to have sex, because
you know what I mean? Be smart. Be smart.
So we don't have to worry about this and have executive orders for it.
Right?
No, and that's the one thing that I think if we could all, I think a lot of people are like, I am tired of the government overstepping and being involved in our lives and dictating that. Like, that's one thing we need less of. We don't need executive orders. I don't need congressmen or senators or people fighting to put more stipulations in my life. No, we need to get them out, and they only fight for stuff that we want. Because so more often than not, they're going, hey, abortion, we're going to fund abortion. Why? Because this small group of a couple hundred people go protest over here talking about my right, my body, my right. By the way, Pete Rivera, say my body, my choice is like saying my house, my rules. If it doesn't give you the right to kill anybody inside of it. That, to me, I like that. But back to my point they always take the small majority and then they take that and they push it out onto everybody else. And after a while, people just accept it because it's law. But we don't all agree with it. So, yeah, I think there should be some stipulations in it. But I don't think the government, I think they need to get the hell out of our lives and stop telling us that, stop funding these things. And I think if, like you, I agree with you, Shelly. At that point, if the government stops funding it, hey, if you want to go do it and the guy you're with says he's cool with it because he don't want a kid, or you don't know who the baby daddy is and you go pay for it out of your pocket, cool. Because that's, you want to do that to your body and to your mental, that's you. Just like women that want to go get plastic surgery, they got to fix that. They got to put stuff in, you know, places to make them feel about themselves, and that affects their mental too, because it gives them a confidence boost. Medical don't pay for that. They pay for it, you know, and I'm going to take it one step further. Just like the military, I don't think we should be paying for transgenders either. They want to make that choice. That's on them. They should pay for those type of things. The government shouldn't be involved in that. And they shouldn't be telling us that they're going to do it.
Why would they pay for why would they pay for a trans surgery? When if I decided, hey, look, I've had 5 kids, you know, gravity has taken a toll on my girl.
Right.
So, you know, in order for me to feel great and feel like an amazing mom to 5,
and fulfilled,
wife to my husband, then, you know, I need my girls back up here. You know what I'm saying? So can you help me with that, government? No, it doesn't make sense.
Because we cater to the less than 1% of people that are actually wanting this, but they're the loudest. They're the loudest, and then we give it to them. I think a lot of that stuff should come down to your state, your local level. And if your government or your state wants to do something like that, cool. But I think you're going to find more often than not that people are going to have these type of conversations and say, hey, I don't want to fund it.
Hey, well, and real quick about that, I'm going to talk to Joe about that equity bill.
I want to go back real quick to Sherry Clark's comment. We were talking about abortions and it being paid for or whatever. And her question was, she had 2 questions. Well, yeah. What if the mother's life is in jeopardy, or if the baby can't live outside the womb? And as far as when it comes to abortion, or when it comes to deciding that factor. And I think we had this conversation before.
Can I take this one?
Yeah, I was just sharing the question.
Yeah. So, because we talked about this. Hey, and this is okay, and I can understand too. Like if you're in the hospital and it's like, hey, if you continue to go on with this pregnancy, there's a high chance you might die. Or if we take the baby out now, the baby might die. I mean, depending on the term limit, right? Because in a way, you're not really aborting it, but because I mean, how often? And this is a question for you women. I'll ask you, you know, as far as how often early in a pregnancy do people really have life-threatening? I'm talking like first, second trimester. I get the end, but I think if it's at the end, like that last trimester where she's about pregnant, I think at that point that's more of a life and death situation for both the mom and the baby. And if a mom says no, have the baby. If I go. That's on her, or the other way around. That's a choice between the parents, the husband or wife, or the lady or whoever.
Right.
I think that's the conversation for them. But how many incidences happen in the first or second trimester where they're like, hey, if we don't abort this baby, you're going to die, even though you're not really showing like any signs of being pregnant, like no belly bump or anything. Like how often does that happen?
Right. And I think like those are special circumstances.
Yes.
The life or death situation, like those are special circumstances that the parents really need to come to terms with. And I know that sometimes they're not in terms with that, because a lot of the times the mother will choose the baby over themselves, but the father is not at that point yet, because it's hard. The bond is different at the beginning of birth, pregnancy and birth, up until, you know, some of the infant toddler years. It's different between the mother and the child versus the dad and the child. Not that the father doesn't love them as much, just the bond is different because of the period of life that they're in. And we've had this conversation many times too. And so I think in those situations, sometimes it's hard for the man to be like, okay, I'm with you, just don't have sex. I mean, you know, I think it's hard for the man sometimes to kind of let their wife go, or their significant other, because that's all they know, versus this little person who it's not quite the same, whereas she would, and sometimes it could be the opposite. Again, it's like every situation is different. I like
Deborah Elliott, the morning after pill. Yeah, that's an option. Birth control.
There are
that's
so
an option.
There's so
I
many
mean-
options.
Condoms, that's an option. Or how about, I don't know.
And here's one for you. She had a miscarriage, and I'm sorry about that. I feel for you. I had a miscarriage at 10 weeks, and when I passed the fetus, it was all formed with fingernails. That's like one of those answers too. At what point is it a baby? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
terrible.
Morning after pill.
Morning. No, I was like, that's an option.
There's
just wearing protection.
yeah.
Oh, that's I was on my little roll. It's like, or how about just not having sex until you get married or until you're with somebody that you're in a good relationship with? How about picking better husbands or wives or
Taking time.
spouses? There's so many things you can do.
I feel like I'm
Going
being
through the.
now when you said
Hey, I
feel attacked.
I can't
okay?
judge you. I can't judge you because
Rude.
I'm right there.
He did it too.
I did it too. And you know what? I'd like to, if my dad's watching, it's partially his fault. I didn't get no father talk or anything like that. No.
How old are you, Chris?
When he was born, 19.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have, and now my dad, I'm not gonna knock him. He's a good dude. I mean, we all go through life and shit happens, but I don't think we ever had a conversation about it. And it just, I didn't have role models. Like what I'm gonna teach my kids is something I wish my parents would have, my dad would have taught me. I had this talk like, hey man, if you're going to do this, then you need to wrap up or think about what you're doing. I didn't get that. So 18 got her pregnant, 19 had a kid. So, I mean, I can't say it was all him because it really wasn't. I knew better. I mean, we all go through, I think most of us go through sex ed, but if it's not reinforced at the house, then, but I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want her to get an abortion because I don't know if I could have lived with that because I don't know, it didn't sit right with me. Because I think, for me personally, I think at conception, that's life. Biology says that once it starts to form, that's life. There's life in there. So, yes, I did.
That was so proper.
I did.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Yes.
Where those like?
I went through the whole communion and confirmation and then sit up, stand down, kneel. That was my Sunday workout. Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, can you imagine that with these older women that will be in the church now with their knees? I'm like, damn.
Oh, now I stand up and it's like pop, and she's like, "Is that your knee?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Shit, I'm like, it's both my knees, my ankle, and a pinky.
Shit, a pinky. That's a lot.
But yeah, there's so many options. And like I said, I just think that we should be focused on those things, right? Like instead of focusing on abortion and all these abortion clinics. That's probably Chris's dad calling and be like, put that fool on the phone.
What did you say about me?
I heard you.
He already told me he doesn't really watch me because he disagrees with half of what I say. And I was like, cool, that's like when you're talking to me, I only listen to half of what you say. And that's in person. But he laughs about it, so we're good.
I think what Andy said right here, that's where an educational bill on pregnancy that we could all get behind would be more beneficial.
I agree with you, Andy. And even more so, I think more parents should tell their kids, stop going out there. Well, first of all, stop watching all this rap music and WAP and all this other nasty ass shit that they're playing. Like that stuff's what's fucking our kids up because some parents ain't watch them. Parents need to start being responsible and enforcing that shit at the house because I'm just saying, like, I agree with you. And I think we should do a better job at educating them. But if it's not reinforced at home, none of it matters. And that is a problem in America because there's just nothing's really enforced at home.
A lot of homes are lax.
I know. And I know somebody up in the comments earlier, I did see it. They said, hey, we're not teaching our kids any morals or ethics or something like that anymore. That's 100. I think that's true too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of the parents are jamming to WAP. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I agree. Like I said before, I think I said it. I said in my live yesterday.
Yo.
That what?
Okay, I got it.
Parenting is it's rough. I mean, it takes a lot of effort. If you're not exhausted, mentally and physically exhausted some days, then you're not doing it right. It takes effort. It takes presence. It takes intentionality. It takes being present. It takes all of those things to be a good parent on a constant basis, and that is hard. Therefore, having a good partner, having friends who are willing to help you in that, having family who's willing to help you, which I know not everybody has, but if you're able to have those things, like when they say it takes a village, it really does take a village to help reinforce a lot of the good morals and good beliefs that are going on, and making sure that you know the friends that they have, and the parents of the friends. Like, it's important to build those communities outside your home, outside your own communities, build them out there, so that there's much more connection. Like, it takes so much more effort that people are just too lazy and unwilling to do.
Check this out. It just made me think of some. So I know, like, BLM has this, like, it takes a village to raise a kid, right? That doesn't mean socialism. It's saying, take that term. It takes a village to raise a kid. It takes,
is that what they said? I'm pretty sure they said the grandmas and the moms and the aunties.
Well, that too, but then they said it takes a village to raise a kid, right? I'm pretty sure that's what was in there. Mm-hmm. So let's take village and make a community. It takes a community to raise a kid. Not saying that they got to be in every aspect, but another problem we have is that the communities are not trying to help us raise our kids. They're not a lot of times, even down at the local level, we don't have the best influences. You go outside, like my kids were like, I'll be the first one. If I see some kids fight outside, I'm going to yell at them and tell them to stop. And if one of them little a-holes gets disrespectful, like, I'm a grown ass man. If you 13, 14, come say something to me, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to snatch you up. I'm going to take you to go talk to your daddy, and I'm going to have a conversation with your daddy and tell him he needs to start teaching better kids. Because the problem is that, yes, it does take a community to raise kids. And a part of that is like, hey, when you see these kids acting stupid, we should say something. Hey, man, stop tagging on the wall. You're jacking up our community. But at the same time, like, we aren't teaching our kids to be respectful, because if you tell some kid, hey, man, stop doing that, that's wrong. Those kids are quick to turn around and be like, hey, you. And I know, because I was one of those kids that I just didn't have that. So if you told me something when I was on the street, I would turn around and tell you to go F yourself. And why? Because I stopped getting that at home. So, off that. Hey, real quick, T.I. has a new album, The Libra. There's one thing on there. I think it's the introduction. You guys got to go check it out, because she the whole WAP video. And then she talks about, I know it's towards the black, I'm going to assume that she's talking towards a black woman, but there's some really good stuff in there. And there's some things I disagree with, but she talks about how people like Cardi B need to stop telling these young women this type of stuff.
Who's telling them?
I think it's Miss Pat. I think it's T.I. I think it's one of his newer albums. It's the Libra introduction featuring Miss Pat. Yeah.
T.I. the
Yeah.
Yeah, the rapper.
I don't know if you can see that. Nope, it's not going to show up. Yeah, T.I. the rapper, Libra, introduction by Miss Pat. It was actually, I listened to it today.
Oh, what is it? T.I.?
Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
Libra album?
Yeah.
T.I. featuring Miss Pat?
Yep.
How do you spell it?
S.
There was did you guys see the video? Hold on, let me see if I find this video real quick.
So this one? The introduction?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Here, I'll send it to you, Charlie, right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it on here, but maybe post it in the comments.
Why?
Because it's new. I don't want her to get her the live taken down.
Just because it's new?
Yeah, just because it's not her music, and she has to give them rights.
Like 20 seconds or something of it. I'm not sure what the.
Yeah, but that would defeat the whole thing. Like, you got to kind of listen to it.
Really?
Yeah, just throw it in. We'll throw it in the comments.
All right.
What are we at?
There's one for you guys to listen to. I'm trying to see what I did with it. What the hell? I'm telling you, this is why I have way too many videos in my phone.
All right, I'm throwing.
Actually, there was an article about T.I.'s wife, Tiny Harris, accused of drugging and sex trafficking at least
Oh, that's what they were talking about. I know someone had brought it up, but I didn't look into it.
At least 15 women and minors.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. Like, so I did this live the other day about being an example to your young girls, right? Being an example, encouraging the young girls in your life and the mothers or the women raising them or the women helping to raise them or whatever, and how important it is. And this goes to the young men as well, but I was talking about the girls specifically, like how important it is for the men and women raising our youth of today, how important it is for them to learn how to communicate, learn how to listen, learn how to process the situation, learn how to process emotion, learn how to speak about them, learn how to love themselves and to find value within themselves and not for external forces. For the adults to do that in order to, we have to learn how to do that for ourselves in order to teach our youth to do it, because it's a constant reminder over and over and over. This is something that you have to train the mind to do, and how important that is. Otherwise, you're going to have things like this and women like this, if it's true, trafficking young, impressionable kids to do these things that they shouldn't be doing.
I just sent it to you, Jantisha.
I see it.
I'm not sure if you heard it already.
Oh, Tom McDonald, he's the one with the braids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like him. I like him. Yeah, I like him. He's got a few good ones. I like him. No, I haven't heard this one yet, but I'll listen to it. I like his stuff.
It was pretty good. Did you guys see that thing where there was another DC officer who killed himself?
I heard something about it today,
No.
but I didn't. I wasn't sure. I think didn't AOC bring that up? Somebody brought it up.
It was her.
Yeah.
When she was talking about Ted Cruz and that he almost had her murdered because another DC cop was killed himself. So they're trying to blame the insurrection that
it's still.
No, I didn't. That's crazy though.
Yeah, that was just a bad move altogether. What they did that day, because what's sad is that on the other side of the house, you're never going to hear about it. They're just that it might come up for a minute, but they're going to try to wash it away as fast as they can and hide it. But then that's why part of me thinks that there was other people at play outside of the people who were really there just to be there for President Trump and the rally, because it just the way some of it happened, it's like, why? And if it was Trump supporters, like, man, you guys did a number, because they're not going to let this go, and the media is going to do what they do best. They're always going to go back and they're going to point fingers at whoever was on the right, and they're just not going to let it go. And that's how they brainwash and manipulate people to start believing that the right, or anybody who's affiliated with that side of the house or has beliefs with that side of the house, that they are a part of this act or crazy ideology.
Where are you going? Oh. Sorry, but this is what I was thinking, right? So whether there was other people there, which I do agree with you 100%. I don't think that was just Trump supporters. That's my personal opinion. But whether they were, let's say they were all Trump supporters, right? Let's give it to them, right? They're all Trump supporters. It was a little over 1 million people, I believe. So let's say, I don't know, a couple thousand. Let's be generous, right? Decided to storm the Capitol and did what they did. Now, police suicide has been a thing way before this insurrection. It's a fact. It is a fact that police have one of the highest suicide rates in a profession. Period. And I know that to be a fact. So My thing is, you want to say that this officer killed himself because whatever they saw, whatever they getting through. You know what? I'll tell you one thing. There's more to that story. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know what, but I'm just saying there's more to that story.
I think there's
more to those, because this is the second officer who killed himself. I'd really like to dig into what their titles were and what their positions were there, because that would lead me to find out what information they knew and what information they didn't know. Do you know where I'm going with that?
Oh, I am off mute. That's what you're like. I think there's always a lot more. There's always a lot more to the story than what the news puts out when it comes to situations like this. And I know it's like being in the military. Like what police officers and military personnel, what they go through, and some of the things that they see or things that happen. Like it might not be once, it might have been many a time. So maybe he had a lot of things sitting on him. There could have been a lot of different reasons of why he did what he did. It just sucks because the media, it doesn't matter what happened to him, or say, not sorry, it does matter what happened to him, but they're not going to talk about everything running up to that or anything else that he was going through. They're going to say the only reason that he did this is because of the insurrection and because of what happened that day. And he might have been struggling way before that.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that if these two officers committed suicide, you heard how I use that word, if.
Yeah.
Because anything around certain political parties that have known that people just kind of die like flies around. I'm not going to say no names so my video don't get banned. But it's not, like I said, I'd like to know more about them, and I mean like their position as far as what they did and what they may or may not know. Because to use this, even that aside, right, just to use their suicides as part of this insurrection is ridiculous when they have one of the highest suicidal rates. Aside everything else, and not to mention, let's not even talk about what happened last summer.
Right.
And how much shit would have put people in a really bad position, along with COVID and all the Black Lives Matter protests and the Antifa doing all the shit they've been doing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know. Like I said, Epstein's not dead. Probably not. Who knows? Shit.
I mean, if Elvis is still alive, Epstein's still alive.
Well, if what was said about him and his obsession of cloning and genetic modification and all that, if that was true, that he was into that stuff, then I don't put it past him.
Let's go down conspiracy road.
Yeah, that's really what that is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's Hawk at?
Yeah, I try. I mean, I there's some that I'll go down the rabbit hole with, and that's just because if I can make it make some type of reasonable or logical sense, and I can see, then yes, I'll go down. And then there's just some stuff that I can't. What did she say? Amy Young said, "I say Pelosi knew what was going on that day." She's referring to the Capitol riot. I'm gonna tell you guys right now that
they all knew.
They all knew, and they knew because they knew that rally was going to happen, and to me, that would have been a perfect opportunity. And I could have swore I heard somebody say that there was, like, anytime that there's people like that, and there's usually anti-protesters, and that's why I said earlier I think there was more to it, because usually when there's a Trump rally, there's also anti-protesters there or anti-Trump people that are there protesting against it. So if there was a group of people for Trump, there obviously was a group of people that were not there for him. And if they got smart, then yeah, they would have put on Trump stuff and like that. To me, like that, that's why I assume stuff like that. Like if I was going to go make a mess, why not look like the people that are, I dislike, and then go make an ass out of myself, and then they get blamed for it. Like,
well, that's why the FBI has already said that. Like this whole thing with this indictment. So they're saying that Trump is the one who incited it based on his speech that day. But
Right.
the FBI is saying there's no way because we knew of this in advance. There were Antifa posting images, and I believe their Facebook has been taken down now, to be honest. But they were saying wear Trump hats, wear them backwards. So that was a week prior.
Right.
And there's a certain person, I can't remember his name right now because it came out when this first happened, but he was saying that they all received letters that this was going to happen, I think 6 days before it happened. So they were aware of it. They knew that something was going to happen. It was already
right. They'd been planning it for weeks at that point, because that they had. If I was seeing posts of Facebook invites, Facebook event invites that they were talking about this in addition to Facebook groups and other groups on other platforms that were putting these things together.
So tassels
are what?
Are trash.
Are trash. So I'm going to say this.
Well, that's a very blanketed statement.
But that's what they've been taught to say, and that's the media talking. That's not him.
You are programmed, sir. You are, or ma'am, I don't know. I think that's a sir. But you are programmed. You are programmed to believe in hate. You are programmed to believe that we should all be divided as a people. And I am not a Republican, nor am I a Democrat. I vote based on policy.
Yes, somebody said he's a troll, and so, but
it's okay. You're not gonna bait me into a conversation with someone who says Trump for jail 2021's.
But it does bring up a good point. It does bring up something that we could talk about. Here's somewhere
unity and healing.
Yeah, and it's the thing of, because I've gone through this at work or what people I talk about, like they find out I'm a Trump supporter, okay, and I voted for Trump, and then all of a sudden it's like the accusations go. They start assuming things, and it's like, wait. Just because I voted for him and I support him, you see me as the media wants you to see me, but you know me in real life as a real person. Have I ever done those things? And am I really like this guy says, like they want you to believe that Trump supporters are trash because they've told you that. And at work, I have people that start to talk to me like that. It's like, dude, really? Do you see what I do in my community? Do you see the things that happen inside of work, outside of work? Like, I've known you for how long? Have I ever come off as trash? And look like, well, no. Okay, then why? Because they've been taught to look at us like that, because they can't understand that not all Trump supporters are like there are some crazy ones, but we're not all crazy. Some of us we really like some of the stuff he was putting out, so we voted for him. But the media will have you believe that Trump supporters are all one and the same, and they're not, just like Hispanic Latinos. Hey, real quick, because we're coming up like
almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours. Can we end it with the immigration one? Because I know I started to bring it up and you were like, yeah. And then we straight off.
Yep.
Because really all I want to say is
I'm here for it.
I'm disappointed that we built the wall, or we stopped building the wall. And it upsets me that people.
Can I say hi?
No. Oh, come on, real quick.
Hi.
Good? All right.
So cute.
And oh wait, there we go. He's just trying to get his 15 seconds of fame.
Let's go.
Love you.
People. What gets me is, like, I know some states you guys don't know about fences, so you guys wouldn't get it. But here in California, we fence everything off, even around our own houses. So when people are like, I can't believe they're putting up a wall. Well, some of us block ourselves in our own city. So block ourselves in so our neighbors don't get into our shit, or block our border off so not just Mexico, but other people don't try to get into our shit. To me, it's all the same.
Good point, Dina. Good point.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
DC can build a permanent fence around. Yeah.
Exactly.
Period. And I have an 8-foot fence around my entire house. My shit is
Some-
locked up. Fort
Yeah,
Knox.
some people even have metal bars on their windows and their doors. So
Yeah. That's how you know when you're in the hood. You pass by 8-foot fence, bars on the windows,
I don't have
heavy
bars.
duty
On my
screen doors.
I don't have bars on my windows. I do have 8-foot fence, and I have cameras everywhere. And it's not so much for me; it's for the protection of my children because anybody could get it.
yeah.
But let's talk about the executive order. We'll end it with that one.
So in this, on those executive orders, right? What I'm realizing is that they're all kind of in categories. So he pushed out 4 for immigration, and I think that's what you were looking at. So healthcare. Where am I at? Come on, immigration. So you have executive orders on ensuring a lawful and accurate, how do you say that? Enumeration, and they really
Enumeration.
and say the other one.
Which one?
The A word. People are realizing how dumb I am.
Apportionment.
I could not
You're
pronounce
not
those.
dumb.
I know I'm not, but those are some hard words trying to trick me.
Mhm.
So it has to do with the census. We'll just go there. And then there's ending discriminatory ban on entry to the United States, the DACA, and the defunding the border wall.
Right.
So, Shelly, it's your show, but what do you think about DACA?
I'll let you go first.
She laughed.
So, John Tisha, what do you think about DACA? You don't know, do you?
Why?
So, this is talking about which defers to
Like,
the
are you trying to
removal-
be a cool guy or something?
No, because I just wanted to. I don't want to. Anyway, so for me, DACA, which is the removal of certain undocumented immigrants. So here's my thing: if your family brought you here and you get thrown, like if you wind up in the system, or I think that's what DACA
Yeah,
is.
that was for the kids.
Yeah.
Like they call them dreamers.
Yeah, and
The ones that could come over here when they're kids and then they get stuck here.
Yeah, that's a rough one for me. I think if they, to me, it's kind of like, hey, if they throw you over the border, do we toss you back over? Not to be funny, but it's like that's kind of what I see going on. Is like if they come over here and they're just like, here you go have the American dream. To me, handing you back over, like who do we hand them back over to? Like if their parents just split on them, I understand that. I think we should allow those kids to have citizenships, especially if they were just left here. But that's
and who
where
are actually still here, because some of them are all the way up until they're 18
Yeah.
and all they know is
this is
America.
their life. I think we should, and I think we should stop that from happening, which is why I'm a big supporter of the wall or higher security, because I think it's if these people are running up and they're trying to get kids in just so the kid could have a good life, like, no, we need to stop that, just like we're stopping illegal immigrants from coming into our country. Like, to me, we're very lenient. There's other countries in this world that if you go into their country improperly and you're illegal there and you're not supposed to be there, you might not come back. I mean, we're very generous and great, but take who we have now. And I say this for everybody, kids and adults. If you're here now and you ain't doing no harm, you're a citizen. Let's get you in the system. Let's get you paying taxes. Let's get these farm workers in California better wages, shit like that, and close down the border. I think I kind of feel for the DACA kids.
Yeah, that's a rough one when it comes to youth.
Yeah.
When it comes to the youth who it's all they know. But when it comes to adults, I mean, like I understand why, but at the same time, you should know better. When the center held, Biden wouldn't let 1,500 Vietnam allies come to the U.S., but now lets anybody in illegally. Right.
Hypocrisy.
Right.
So as far as DACA,
Oh yeah, I see that.
I think it's like a very I think it's a very slippery slope, to be honest. I think that kids that are here and that have been living here and have been here, I think like with everything there should be rules. We could hear you screaming the whole time. You were very intense. You were super ass intense. That's how it is in the video game world. Oh my god. He said that's how it is in the video game world. You gotta take shit seriously. But so I think that for these kids, I think that when they come here and they've been raised like I could see like your point of like we should let them stay and how do we fix that? But I think that there should be rules too, right? Like because I think if we have that open door policy, how many people are gonna just basically dump their kids?
Right. Well, no, that's for that would be like for those who are already here, not for anyone new. There has to be checks and balances, and if we have that law, if we have it's already in the law, like to go through the process, come through the right door, come do the right process, work on getting your citizenship, learn everything about this country to be a part of this country. Yes, of course. The ones who are already here, I think that's what we're talking about is the kids who are already here, not the ones who are going to be here. And his open door policy is going to shit all of that away. Especially for all the people. Like I'm first generation American. Like my mom and her family came over here legally. Like that's going to shit on all the work that they did and all the work that they've put into this country from the time that they got here till now to present, to just throw it all away. Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So I think that like for me, I was not against Donald Trump's policies on immigration, actually. I actually agreed with him very much so on them. I know a lot of people talked about kids and camps and like all these kids, but I'm like, when I kind of dug into it, I'm like, well, he hired a shitload of attorneys, find parents, relatives that belong to these kids that everybody was complaining about. Like he did invest a lot of money in it. He did try to make it so that they could be reconnected with their parents. I think that
that whole department needs reform and change and funding and all of that.
I think you know what's going to happen now, and this is my honest to God, what I really truly believe. I think that child trafficking numbers are going to go back up. I think the amount of drugs and all the bullshit is going all over again. It's going to be worse than when Obama was in presidency, to be honest. Yeah. That's just my opinion, because he wants to shit all over what Trump did.
Right.
Because again, when they bring in drugs, when they're child trafficking, you know how much money they lost out during Trump's 4 years of presidency?
Oh yeah.
It's a sick world, and it's all about money. It's not about us. They don't give a shit about us. They make more money doing their own little dirt.
Right. 100%.
But for me, I just feel like
my son.
it has to be with everything. There has to be not regulation. There has to be rules. You know what I mean? Like we have to make it make sense for everybody. Because again, bringing these kids here, or, you know, who's going to feed them if they don't have family here? Who's going to take care of these kids? Where are these kids going to go? Like, we have children. I know a lot of people get real sensitive when it comes to kids. Like, I had so many arguments with family members over the kids in cages. And it's because, of course, you know, they listen to CNN. They listen to all these things that make you think like Trump just put these kids in cages and treat them like a dog, throw them a bone every 2-3 times a day type shit. But I'm thinking, what a hypocrite you are when we have children right here in America hungry.
Mhm.
Right.
And being abused,
Mm-hmm.
both mentally, physically, sexually,
Stuck in the system.
stuck in a system or not in the system at all.
Right.
So to me, it's like, I'm just honestly, and I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. I just feel like we are at a point, especially with COVID and small businesses. My heart goes out to small businesses the most, because first you had COVID, then you had Black Lives Matter and Antifa trample all over your shit. And then COVID again, and now this president. So for me, I feel like I'm just at the point, to be honest, and I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, because I am a people person and I do care about other people. But I'm like, we need to take care of America. Period.
Correct. 100%.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, we need to, yes, there needs to be rules and regulations. And if you want to come over, you should come over legally, so that you don't make it difficult for other people who have been waiting forever. But I'm just at the point where we as a nation are so screwed up. And I think that we were making some traction, right? I thought we were making good strides, which is what moved me over to vote for Donald Trump. I liked what he was doing. I liked what direction we were headed. But I think that I'm just kind of at the point where, we have to do things a certain way, and we have to tighten up our belt, and we need to take care of America first.
I'm gonna throw something out at you, right? So, is it just me, or does it seem like if you come from anywhere else overseas, there's a process? You got to get a visa. You got to go through all these loops and to get in, right? It seems a little bit harder. What upsets me, and these are
as well as to stay. It's legal to stay somewhere else without a valid visa also.
So for me, what upsets me is like, and I know these are supposed to be our people, but why is Mexico the exception? And that's what's always bothered me. It's like other people have to struggle to get here, and they got to really go through some things to get here. But Central and South America, they just get to walk over here, and it's almost like we've made them the exception. And it upsets me knowing that my mother-in-law had to go through a process, and she did it the right way. My great-grandparents went through a process and did things the right way. I 100% think the system needs to speed up. But here's the thing. If Mexico or these places are having that much of a problem, instead of bringing them here, why don't we go there to help them out? And the answer is because there's no money in it for us. We say we're going to fight war on terrorism, and we fly to the Middle East to go fight war on terrorism. But really, a lot of the terrorism is right over the border with the cartel. We're not going to go fight the cartel because there's no money in it. The money's in the Middle East. And that's where I think America's jacked up in some areas. And I'm with you. I think there's got to be some changes to the law, and there's some things we need to clean up. And I would just really like to see my wall finish being built.
I would too. I actually would too, because I think, like I said, for me, it was one of the things that I liked the most. Well, not the most, but it is one of the things that I liked the most about Donald Trump's policy on the wall. Because, and not only that, but I loved what he did with USMC, like the United States, Mexico, and Canada. I actually really stood behind that policy, because for the first time, Mexico would get a middle class. They've never had one. And I thought that why would people from Mexico itself, because we know that it's not just Mexicans coming through the border. We know that. I think people don't realize that, right? Like other people think it's just Mexico. Like these people that are voting for other people who are against the law, I think they really just think that it's Mexicans coming from Mexico. There's people from all over coming through that border. So for me, I'd love the wall to be completed. I think right now we're at 432 miles of wall that is completed already. I think that's what it was when Trump left office. I think that there has to be, like I said, there has to be like a happy medium. You know what I mean? There has to be rules. Anywhere else you go, there's rules. Period.
Yep.
Anywhere you go, there's rules. So you have to stand by those rules, and we have to make it where that, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that there's a lot of reform in immigration. Yeah, like the immigration offices are fucking ridiculous. Like, if you really care about people, like, let's fix some of those immigration offices to help make the process just not
Smoother?
just smoother is the word. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
I have a question for you. So who runs the immigration office?
The government.
And here's the problem. And whether you're state or you're federal, the problem is that the government is not always efficient. And I'm telling you firsthand, I know it. I've been employed. It's not always efficient. And it's not always the easiest route. I mean, whether it be your federal post office or the VA or something like that. Not saying that they're all bad, but just depending on where you're at and who's managing it, it's not always the most efficient process, because where the government does good work, we do really good work. And then there's areas where we don't do so good, we don't. And that's one of the areas. Immigration and that aspect doesn't
it definitely
needs work.
It definitely needs reform in some areas, and it definitely needs more funding. I was looking into it earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year I was looking into it, and they are just underfunded and understaffed in so many areas that they need more help, because it is such a complicated thing, such a complicated process, because you're dealing with minors and also adults, but then also minors who are coming over with people who are not related to them, and then you have just adults adults just coming over. It's not always just families that are coming over, and so the government, or our country is trying to figure out what to do with these kids and where to put them. And if there's so many, then where do they go? And if they fall under this category, then they go here. And like, there's just not enough centers or places that have enough people that are licensed or, certified in those situations. So then they have to outsource to, foster homes and people who are just willing to take them in. And it's like,
it's a mess.
It's a lot. There's a lot in that area. And then you have the judicial part of it. And then it's just a lot. And they really, really do need reform, and they need more help. They need more bodies, and they need more money. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, for me, I just feel like with this whole immigration stuff, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I don't look forward to Joe Biden's policies on it, to be honest. I don't think that it is going to benefit us as Americans, and not that we're letting immigrants in to benefit us, right? But I just think that it's not going to benefit us. The shit that he's trying to do, like I said, I don't see it ending well for us. I see child trafficking going up. I see more drugs and illegal guns, especially if he wants to do what he wants to do with hands, or his cracking down on our Second Amendment. I just see that as another way for more illegal shit to happen, because it's not the legal gun carriers out here killing people.
Right.
No.
If that was the case, all the murders would be solved. Hello, the guns have serial numbers. Each gun is different. Your bullet is registered to it.
But then here you go to the uneducated people that don't know anything about, like, I hate to be like this, but I feel like there's just this big population of America that just don't know shit about shit. The Constitution, their rights. I mean, they don't know about the stock market. They don't know about what your weapons. They don't know, like you got them running around, like you got politicians running around talking about, high caliber assault rifles. We ain't talking no military 50 cal. That's definitely not what we're talking about, but they don't know what they're talking about. And people don't know what they're talking about either. They just go with it.
They hear words like AR, what is it, AR-15?
Yeah.
They hear those words and they're like, oh my God, like all this, kind of stuff, right? So, and I think I'm gonna say it, and it is gonna be what it's gonna be. People are gonna come for me, it's fine. But those people that you're saying, like, there's just a lot of people who don't know about the stock markets. There's a lot of people who don't know about like gun rights and ballistics, right? And you know who those people are? They are Blacks and Latinos. Period. That is the majority of the people who do not know. You know why? Because they want to talk about all this oppression. We're oppressed, we're oppressed. You know who's oppressing us? Those same fuckers who are trying to hand us little crumbs just enough to get our vote and don't care about you long term. They don't care about, they know what's going to happen to you. You're going to fall into the system that they set in place for you, and you're going to think the way they want you to think. You're going to walk the way they want you to walk. You're going to talk. You're going to vote everything the way they want you to do, because it is literally set up in place so that you stay there. It's like a hamster on a fucking wheel. Guess what? He doesn't realize, okay, now it's time to get the fuck off and take a rest, maybe read or something. You're going to continue to
read or something.
It's literally a program. Why do you think that the majority of Democrats are who? Latino,
No, they're colored people.
I'm a white
Latinos,
Like
brown.
colored people.
According to Joe Biden, they're black and brown.
Hey, so it's here's my biggest issue with Joe Biden's presidency so far, is that to me, it's almost like about making history, not making a difference. And I say Joe Biden's here to make history. He's not here to make a difference or change anything for the better. Because when he leaves office, he will have done all this historical stuff. He will have had the first Black and South Asian Pacific vice president. The first I know I did. The first transgender whatever, the first gay this, the first Native American that, the first Latino this. He's got all these first.
Transgender.
And it's like when you put in for the job, like, hey, you're here for transportation. What is your qualification? And then the guy's like, it's me going, I'm Latino, and he's like, hired. We're looking for just your skin color and your ethnicity. So go to report to duty. That's it. Like, that's what he's done, and he's just making history, but not really doing anything to benefit us. And I say us, Americans, every color.
Correct. I agree with you.
Whatever color of green you are. My military friends would get that.
Sure, whatever green you are.
Light green, dark green.
Yeah, they're all green. There's no colors. No colors.
I'm actually looking at something really, really quick. Where is it?
Jamie Porter says her husband hates being called black because he isn't black, he's brown.
Yeah,
Well, that's
you can
another
see
thing.
this
They
picture right
argue-
here.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Who created that term? I saw a video a week ago, and it was like from all these other nations, and they're like, "Oh, what language do you think people in the United States speak?" And they were like, "Oh, American." And then they started asking people about like race, ethnicity, and every person in these other nations, you know what they refer to our race as? American. What? They all said American. They never said black. They never said Latino. They never said anything else except American. And that is our biggest problem, because when we start thinking that,
right.
Morgan Freeman said it best. You know how you stop racism?
You stop talking about it. Mm-hmm. He's 100% right.
And, and I agree with that, because it's like people are like, oh, you're brown. I'm sorry. This ain't that brown. I mean, yeah, the summertime I get brown, but it's more red sometimes. Like I got that Indian blood. But I hate, it's just stupid, because we've been programmed to do that to each other. If you see a dude who looks black, even if he's brown or light skinned, you're like, oh, that's a black dude. And there's like a million shades of black dudes. If you're brown, they don't ever say like, oh, that's a brown dude. They'll be like, everybody's Mexican. Unless you're on the East Coast, you might be Puerto Rican. But like, oh, that's a Mexican dude. And we all come in different shades, but we've just been programmed to talk like that. And I'll be honest with you, even for myself, it's hard to shake, because I'm not Mexican. Mexican's a nationality. It's not a race. It's not an ethnic group. I'm American of Hispanic Latino descent. But we've just been taught this for so long that we have to start teaching our kids to change, to stop thinking like that, and to change their mindset.
Correct.
Mom's not white. She's tan.
I was looking.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're actually a really nice, pretty brown, like a light brown. You're a pretty light brown.
I've been told I'm like the Mexican Channing Tatum.
That's true.
No,
I did. I was the first person to tell him that when we first started dating. I was like, that's why.
Hey, we were at the car dealership, and the dude that was selling us the car was like, dude, you know who you look like? And before he could finish his sentence, I was like, Channing Tatum. And he was like, yeah, but not like that, man. I'm just, you resemble him. I was like, it's cool. He's like, just don't take your clothes off and start dancing. And I was like, unless it's going to give me a discount, don't worry about it.
Did you make him dance for you?
Me?
Yeah.
Did I make him dance for me?
No, I asked her to dance. I invited her over to the house, and I was like, hey, we're barbecuing with the family. Do you want to come over? I'll meet you halfway, and we'll walk back. She said yes. We got back. We ate. We threw some Mexican music on. I was like, hey, you want to dance? And she looked at me like, this white dude's asking me to dance to this. And then I took her out, and I was like, you know? And then she was like, oh, my God. And then now we're married and have kids.
I was trying to see if she was going to give out her Channing Tatum magic fantasy with you. I'm looking at executive orders, because I want to see. Oh, does this give me by years? God dang it!
And my son is black, white mix, but he passed for Hispanic and Indian. My boys have black, half white, and I tell all my family he's Cuban. Then he's good to go.
Damn, Ulysses Grant signed 217 executive orders.
Oh, wow.
God dang, Daniel.
215?
17.
In his whole presidency.
Oh.
Joe Biden's almost there.
Theodore Roosevelt signed 1,081.
Wow.
Woodrow Wilson signed 1,800. Calvin Coolidge 1,200. Oh my God. Franklin Roosevelt, 3,700.
Wow.
So that's
Yeah.
what we got to look forward to. If he wants to, Joe Biden wants to make history. That's why he's starting off strong. This shit's not dying down. He's shooting for 4,000.
JFK, 214. God damn, 3,700? Oh, Lord Jesus. That was a dictatorship right there. Barack
Sometimes you need it.
Obama signed 276. George Bush, 291. What is this? I hate looking at stuff on my phone. Because then I'm like, I gotta scroll to see what the column was again. Okay, we're at Barack Obama. George Bush, 291. Barack Obama, 276. Donald Trump, 220. He averaged 4 a year. That's what it says. No, is it? No, 55. 55. Sorry.
Trump?
I was trying to look up, like, per week, like, how many executive orders in week 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bet you any money he's 4 times as high as anybody else. How much you want to bet? Executive orders first week. Let's see if that comes up. What did you guys? Hey, what did you guys do with your dog?
They're here. We have 2.
Okay.
They're here.
Because I thought you had to give them up or something.
We were very close. We were considering it. I looked at all of the shelters around here and whatnot. We didn't do it, and we ended up bringing them here with us. And I bought a collar. I brought a training collar for them, and so I've been trying to train them. I haven't really had to do a whole lot, but just trying to train them to not be so much and not to dig into all those things. But they're here. My landlord doesn't know, but so far so good.
Well, hopefully your landlord will stay in his own place.
I hope eventually, because I don't think we were supposed to have pets at the last place, but Chris was leaving a lot on leave for the military at the time, and so I brought home Rebel and for me to take care of. And then the next year we went back again and I found my hope, and so now we have 2. And then our previous landlord found out we had the dogs because our back neighbor, we needed to fix the fence, and the people who were coming to do the fence
snitched on us.
And so then we ended up having to pay a deposit or a fee for the dogs. And so but she was good, she was cool. She was like, well, the landlord, whatever. And I'm like, our property management, we worked it out. So I was happy about that. So hopefully, we know eventually it's probably going to come out. Our landlord will probably find out, but
hopefully
we're hoping
we'll be buying the house by then.
Yeah.
I won't call it a crate or a kennel. We call it their room. So they have a room, and it's a decent sized one inside the house. They live in their room, and yes, they are fits, but we have trains, birds, golfers, other dogs at the old house. They just barked at everything.
Yeah.
We also
there was a lot going over there. I think it was environmental while they were barking at everything. Over here, we have a dog dog to the right.
Yep,
we have a dog in the back. And I don't think we have one on the left. But the dog on the right, she looks young, but she's so beautiful. She looks young. She doesn't say a whole lot. Or the dog behind us.
They don't bark at each
They
other.
don't not well. They did a little bit. I had to train them not to do that. But other than that, like the area is nice and it's not super loud. There's not a whole lot going on. So they don't bark at everything. So I'm thankful for that. So I honestly think it's environmental.
Charlie, I have a question for you. Are you in a 2-story place? You have stairs?
Yes.
Yeah. So my first time living in a 2-story house, I'm getting used to it. I ate it the first week we were here twice, walking down the stairs in the morning. So, but the second time I learned, the second time I got it, there's no third time. But yeah, I just that first night getting up and I forgot that we had stairs. I was so used to not having stairs. I went to go walk down and
he slipped. He missed a few.
I missed a few.
Oh,
And then the second time I just
you said I ate it.
I
You said I ate it. I was
I whoop and then went down a couple and my brother-in-law was staring at me. He was like, dude, and I was like, there's stairs here.
Yeah, and so there's the stairs and then the landing and then the stairs. So right at the landing he missed those stairs.
Yep. But fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you type of thing. So yeah, I got fooled twice.
You have that backwards.
No, or is it fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so shame on me the second time. But there wasn't going to be a third time with those stairs. Yeah, no.
No, we have stairs. Well, our old house we had stairs too. So like you guys don't have basements in California, right?
It depends on the house.
Depends on the house.
Okay.
And
I know
attics.
every house my cousin had, she has not had a basement.
In the Bay Area, they have basements.
No, she's in where the hell is she at?
This one looks really
LA.
No, she's not in LA. She's outside of San Diego. She's
Chula Vista.
no, it starts with an M.
Miramar?
Miramar.
No.
No,
Murata?
it's not.
Is it Murata?
No, it's right outside.
Murata's over here.
It's right by Temecula.
You have to pull it up.
Marietta.
Marietta. That's what I was thinking. I said Murata. Marietta. Yeah, that's.
You were close.
It took me a minute. She's in Marietta. But yeah, so no, we have stairs. We have actually a basement and then we have upstairs. So I have to go to the basement to wash. Oh God.
Yeah, that would suck.
2 flights of stairs for me.
Mm.
Yeah, those are those Midwest East Coast houses.
Yeah. Hey, so because I gotta go eat, Shelly.
I do too.
Gina, to answer your question, yes, we're still in California, and it's past dinner time. My stomach is starting.
I told you to. Yeah, I told him to eat something before we came on. He's like, "No, I think we'll be good." I'm like,
popcorn. Just munching on popcorn. I went through I went through 3 of these waters already.
Yeah.
This is my third, and I'm almost done. But
good for you. I'm still shit. I think this is like my second one for the day. I'm still working on this. I'm still trying to get 4.
We better
drink like 2 gallons of water a day.
We better hurry up and go before Suni comes back, and then you guys are on for another 2 hours.
Suni's probably knocked out or spending time with her hubby right now. But you guys hang around for 1 second. Thank you guys for watching. We love you guys, and we will see you next time. Let me end this.